And then, okay, this is where you have to edit it out. I said, what? And he said, I'm in a band too. And I was like, what's your band name? He said, Stormtoker. And now at this point, I have passed the drug test. It took me 70 days to pee clean after trying to pass a drug test from pot. And I had not smoked pot. I was worried to death. And when Donte said Stormtoker, I heard Toker. And I immediately asked Donte. I looked around. I was like, Donte, so do they like drug test here and stuff? And he was like, I'm going to a festival this weekend. I'm not going to finish anything else he said. But needless to say, that night, I was not afraid to go home and not wait any more days.
Greetings, hard and heavy music fans, and welcome to episode 18 of the Heavy Haystack podcast, a podcast about all things heavy music from music listeners like you. Wait, is this picking up in both?
It might be, if you're talking loud enough, it might come through.
Yeah, that is picking up on both. I'll have to edit that shit out later. Episode 18 of the Heavy Haystack podcast. I'm your host, Donte, and I'm here with not David, but two different podcast hosts here, Mr. Josh Godsey and Cyrus Rafferty. Say hello to the people.
Hello to the people. Hey.
And these are two people with that I happen to work with at the day job here, and like they decided to be nice co-host here for the podcast that we have today. I know it's been away for a real long time. Last episode that was released was way back in May, and the date today, which I just now realized I forgot to mention, is September 24th, 2024.
May?
Yeah, May was the last time we did an episode of the Heavy Haystack podcast.
Yeah, it's too long. You got to get it together, man.
Well, what do you think I'm trying to do here right now? That's what I'm trying to do. But yes, on this episode we have for you today, it's been a while, but we see how well I remember how to do this stuff and run a podcast. Probably not too well. But for this episode, we have a lot to talk about, including like some more details on the Blue Ridge Rock Festival that a lot of people have talked about throughout this whole thing. Friggin' the Itis murder with them firing their frontman, and a fight with hardcore OGs Cro-Mags and some other people. Now, before we have all that, we have a show sponsor, which is a band from up in Louisville, Kentucky, called Stonecutters, with their new song, The Search for Rest.
Are we allowed to talk about Overhand Donte?
No, we do not need to talk about that. That song was... Fuck, this is already a disaster. That song was The Search for Rest by Stonecutters from their new album they just released called Eye of the Storm. It came out on September 8th. The band was formed back in 2005 by Brian Omer in Louisville, Kentucky, and they've released a number of albums, with this Eye of the Storm album being their latest one. If you want to like check out the merch or to catch up with the rest of the music, just go to stonecutters.bandcamp.com. And so now, with my two wonderful co-hosts here, let's probably just introduce these two motherfuckers. Y'all speak for yourselves here. Which one of y'all want to go first? Like, introduce yourselves or tell why people should listen to your asses.
Well, related to metal music?
Related to metal music, the whole thing this podcast is about.
Well, I'm probably twice the age of most anybody you have listening to you, and you yourself personally.
You would be surprised.
Well, so 3 times older than... I've seen a lot of metal bands. I've been to a lot of metal shows from a long time ago. I'm probably older metal.
How old are you, Cyrus?
I am 49. I'll be 50 next year. 49.
I was going to say 47, so I guess it's
yeah,
older than I thought you were.
I look 47, but I'm 49.
Because there's a world of difference between those ages.
And the first show I ever saw at Bogart's was in like 1990, so that'll date me to when I started going.
1990. I was born in 1990.
So yes,
if that gives you any indication.
There you go. So,
and Josh, how about you?
I have no reason why people should listen to me. I give the worst advice known to mankind. You probably should never listen to me. Everything I say is probably, I don't know, 90% bullshit, 10% life experiences.
That sounds about accurate.
Yeah. 31 years old, still in the prime of my life. I love all types of music, including the beating of the drums. I love those. Phil Collins, one of the greatest drummers of all time. Donte could never beat him. But I still hold
Actually, I don't know enough Phil Collins to say what his real drumming talents are.
The first Genesis record, the Trick of the Tail, I think, is like, it's not a game, it's metal. And you can say it's not, but if you put it on right now, it's metal.
Sadly, I don't know enough Genesis to refute or agree with that.
I think there's the first record without Peter Gabriel is what it was when he went solo. But yeah, Phil doesn't play around. Their old stuff is pretty, like Pink Floyd, pretty wild, crazy. It's not like what happened later with the Sussudio. It was like, what? So yeah, listen to that if you want to hear some stuff.
Yeah, people think of Phil Collins and they think of the Tarzan, which is a great soundtrack, by the way. But he was pretty good back in his heyday. Probably still pretty good now. He can play drums better than I can.
I heard he just toured and they actually like brought him out in a wheelchair. I think my uncle went and they said they actually like roll him out onto the stage. So there you go. I don't know if that's real.
I would hope it's real. That would be the greatest. It'd be like Ozzy walking out on stage, like almost like.
I think Ozzy would let someone roll him out. I think he would still go even if he had to be rolled out. I think if anybody would.
He's pretty dedicated to the craft to make that happen.
I could like see him getting rolled out and just being hyped about it.
I could see him rolled out in a gurney.
Why am I getting picked up in this channel more than y'all are?
Because we're like having the time of our lives over here. I really don't know. I cannot think of a good reason. Like, I know a lot of bands, but I don't know a lot of bands.
Well, we'll see how well y'all know about bands.
Let's do some trivia.
With, not really trivia here, but...
And I'll talk shit, but, you know.
But we had a couple stories here that have happened in the past week that are quite interesting. Do y'all want to... That stupid fly's fucking gnat in the goddamn room. I'm not cutting that out. This is another stories that happened over the past week. One of the biggest ones of which... Listen, y'all want a fun story or a serious story?
Give me a fun story. I want to hear, like, toddlers getting run over or something.
That doesn't sound like a fun story, honestly.
Well, give me something like a little kid, like, riding his bicycle down a hill at, like, 100 miles an hour and then wiping out on a fence. Not enough to get seriously injured, but enough to, like, rock his shit for a second.
I don't quite have one of those. Here's one that's kind of interesting. Here's a band that I know that y'all are familiar with your questionable rock and metal knowledge that y'all probably have. Deftones. Y'all are familiar with the band Deftones, right?
Yes. Sure am.
Good old baby-making rock music that all the goth chicks seem to be totally gaga over most of the time.
Yeah, it's panty-dropping music, but, you know.
Good old panty drop music. You can't go wrong with that. Well, they just had leaked that they are working on new music for an album they hope to have out next year that was released in a very odd way. The Deftones guitarist, Stephen Carpenter, announced, not officially, but just like in conversation, that they are working on new music and have been since February via a Christian Flat Earth podcast. If you're not... for those of you that are not aware, Stephen Carpenter, guitarist of Deftones, is big on conspiracy theories. Where he's like well known for being a big time flat earther, as well as thinking that something about 9/11 either being fake or like some inside job or some weird like amalgamation of those conspiracy theories. But on the this YouTube channel called the Gnostic Academy, which is a Christian flat earth podcast, he was interviewed. And this interview happened back in July, but it's only coming to public attention now, saying that the band has started writing music and are trying to release a new record in spring or summer of 2024. And it would be the follow-up to their 2020 album, Ohms. But the big news that seems pretty exciting with this upcoming record is that the producer they're going to be working with is the one and only Nick Raskulinecz, who produced their very well-received albums Dominize and Koino Yokon. You're familiar with those records.
I am, yes, but I'm still stuck on the whole Christian Flat Earth podcast.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's been a big story with Stephen Carpenter of Deftones in the past recent years.
Okay, I'm kind of glad that I haven't stayed up to date with him because that would have lowered my opinion of him even lower than what it already is. But
the only Deftones story I really have, because I really didn't listen very much, was my roommate was in Poison the Well, and Poison the Well had to open for the Deftones, and usually when they came to town, they played a smaller place like the Huntridge or whatever. This is in Las Vegas, and he's like, we're going to be playing the Thomas and Mack, which is like the big dog. And I was like, really? And then we got there, we went there, and the Deftones were about to play, and it was like sold out. I was like, damn, there's a lot of people who like this band. I had no idea.
Deftones,
yes, people loved the Deftones. I was like, it's the Thomas and Mack. This isn't the Hunters. Like, this is like where like the big people play, and they are big people. I didn't realize that they were so big people.
Like, out of like the whole new metal era, Deftones is one of the most well received and respected bands of that era.
Well, they're not very respected anymore.
Well,
at least not by me.
By Flat Earthers, Stephen Carpenter.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a running joke. I forget when that first came to light, whether it was like, I think it was like 2021 when that first started, we started saying he was a Flat Earther. And this is a man who travels all over the world, literally, and is in planes all the time where you can see the curvature of the earth, but he says it's hoax.
Well, it's probably a lot of hard narcotics. I'm not going to fault him for that.
Funny thing you mention that because lead singer of Deftones, Gino Moreno, said, yeah, I think he smokes a little bit too much weed, and that's how he got into it.
No, that's not weed. I know a lot of potheads, and not one of them said the earth is flat. They're more worried about where the fucking Cheetos are in the room.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But
what if it is? What if it really is?
If the earth is flat, that would be the biggest mind fuck.
That would be quite the mind fuck.
I don't.
All the other planets you can see up in the sky, they're all round, circular. The stars are circular, planets circular. Earth, big old disc flying through the space.
Right? What if it turns out they're all correct and we're all wrong?
They will.
I will be the. I will die on the hill that the earth is round. I will go out on my sword because I think if you're a flat earther, then you're lower than me, and that's pretty low considering I sold myself back in my high school days for a McDouble.
Wait. I think that needs more explanation.
I'm just saying I was hungry, and the person had $1, and they bought me a McDouble. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Well, I think you're learning a bit more about our co-hosts now sooner than I thought y'all would, probably.
It's very metal to do things at McDonald's.
For money. Not
$1.
just for money, for a McDouble.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty cheap. I'm probably the cheapest one out there. You buy me a burger, if you throw fries in, you'll get extra treatment. I'm just saying.
Getting that good old, McDonald's doesn't have glizzies, but some glizzies getting sucked down in that process.
I'll give somebody the red velvet special if they throw on some bacon on that.
The red velvet special. But yeah, the high part of that is that there's new Deftones news or new Deftones music coming in the near future. Bad news is we're all reminded that Stephen Carpenter is a flat earther and makes you question why he should be liking the band in the first place.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you're listening to that record, you're going to lower everybody's IQ to where they believe the earth is flat too.
I don't think it should matter. People believe all kinds of weird shit, and I still like their music, and whatever, I guess.
Well, speaking of believing in weird stuff, another story that's come out in recent weeks, Jan Wenner, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, Jan Wenner, is the founder of both Rolling Stone magazine and a co-founder of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the reason why he's in the news this week is because he's promoting a new book of his called The Masters, Conversations with Dylan, Lennon, Jagger, Townsend, Garcia, Bono, and Springsteen. And in this interview with the New York Times, he made some questionable remarks about, well, essentially, he was asked the question of, hey, Jan Wenner, or Werner, whatever the fuck his name is, Jan Wenner, why is there only white men featured in your book called The Masters? And
it's called The Masters.
Yeah. I didn't even catch that. This is essentially it's from what I can tell from the description, essentially like interviews about like talking about about rock and roll as an art form, essentially, is what these interviews are about. And when he's asked like why there aren't any women, like, well, it's only white guys in the book, says like, well, there's not really any women in rock and roll that can articulate well about this music style as an art form.
Wait, so Jimi Hendrix isn't even in there, like, from that age?
Yeah, well, I guess like this is just people he's interviewed personally.
People he's interviewed.
But he's interviewed plenty of black musicians and female musicians.
Fleetwood Mac, what's her name? Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks.
He calls
Aretha Franklin.
he
Donna
mentioned Joni
Summers.
Mitchell by name, saying that she wouldn't be able to articulate about the art form too well.
Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell.
Like, she's
yes.
like a classic person.
Well, you got the Cherry
involved.
Bombs too. What's their fucking Joan Jett?
Yeah, so he said that, and like inadvertently, he was not even asked about like black people in the process. He was just asked about women. He said like, I don't really know like many others. And he said like, and when he's referencing like black people, like maybe Marvin Gaye, maybe Curtis Mayfield, but I was like, yeah, just none of them really can articulate about the art form well, which that didn't come off too well. Got a lot of negative responses from a lot of people.
I feel like if you interviewed Marvin Gaye and that's something that you could put in a book, you put that one in the book because he's definitely like he's what I mean? Like he's not around, and that'd be like something that people that might not know some of his things might learn some of his things.
Even then, that's three right off the top of the head. That it being Rolling Stone magazine and it actually featuring music back in the day, rather opposed to what it does now and fucking makeup ads and shit.
And who are the people he put in? You said Jerry Garcia, Bruce
Springsteen, Bono, all people who are on the list.
And he's kind of newer, so I'm trying to figure the dates. Okay,
that's what I'm
Mick Jagger, Bob Dylan, Devin Townsend.
Why is Bob Dylan in a rock and roll?
Bruce Springsteen.
Bob Dylan is the furthest thing from rock and roll.
He gets put in there, like really, like it's with the whole like folk thing. It's kind of like. He's sort of weird. He's kind of like adjacent enough. He's like close enough to it because it's like it's adjacent with the whole like coming off blues and all that stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, when I think of like the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger, when the Rolling Stone magazine back in the day,
You don't really think of Bob Dylan.
I don't think of a harmonica near my mouth.
He's kind of like an honorary, like put in there.
Changing. I don't think about that.
But yeah, like he got some blowback from that. He was taken off of the board of directors for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Good.
He was also the chairman of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame up until 2020. But he's like stepped down or retired from that position, and was writing this book and said that stuff. He's gotten some blowback from Living Color, for one, who said that it's definitely discounting women and people of color.
And that's Corey Glover, right?
Yeah, it's Corey Glover.
If you're Danny Glover's son, you're already on the list.
I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah, he's Danny Glover's son.
Is he Danny Glover's son?
Is he?
Yeah, look it up. Make sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure that's real.
I don't know. You say a lot of tall tales, like so. I don't. That sounds somewhat believable, but
aside from that fact, if you're the board of director for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you can't think of one artist that's a person of color. There's
a whole history of people, including like Little Richard.
The people who started the movement, didn't start the movement, obviously, but the older guys like Chuck Berry before all the bathroom fucking cameras and shit.
By the way, Corey Glover is not Danny Glover's son.
Are you sure?
I just Googled it. Yes.
I feel like I saw the MTV as a child.
Don't put false information on my damn podcast.
Damn it. Well,
back to the point. If you can't think of Marvin Gaye, probably needs to be talked about more. Chuck Berry, obviously, that's who fucking AC/DC dude stole the walk from. Let's say who else? Hendrix, obviously, one of the biggest
This really
ones
is
of all
bumming
time.
me out because I thought my whole life that was really Danny Glover's son, and I don't know why. I mean, it's okay, but I didn't know that till like right now. I thought that since a long. I mean, that band was like when I was in like high school, and I've always thought that. So now I'm really.
Now the disappointment commences.
That sets in.
Man.
He'll get over it. He'll forget
But
about
he got some blowback from Living Color, and more interestingly, he got some blowback from a unexpected musician in this the whole thing. Ted Nugent disparaged his remarks, saying that Jen Winter's remarks were racist and misogynistic, and hear that from Ted Nugent is kind of funny.
Well, Ted Nugent is an odd figure, I think.
He is very odd figure, to say the least. He also does have a personal vendetta against Jan Winter, because he believes that Jan Winter is the reason why he has not been put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well.
It wasn't because of the whole crazy asshole thing.
It could be. I'm not totally sure. I forget what his specific reasons, what Winter's reasons were for leaving Ted Nugent out of the Rock Hall, which arguably he could be in there. He wouldn't be a first choice to put in there over a lot of others that are not in there still.
Yeah, he's not a first ballot, but he's definitely in the honorable mentions.
Yes.
And who gets to decide who goes into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Essentially, it's like the voting committee they have, which is made up of a bunch of different business people, musicians themselves, producers that are selected to be on part of the panels to decide who gets in every year.
And think about all the music they've never heard because they only vote for the people that are always just on the radio. You know what I mean? How many bands that are so good that you're like, why aren't they that have been around forever? And you're like, why? What?
I mean, I don't think Eric Johnson's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame either, is he?
I'd have to look that one up and see if he's on there.
And he's one of the greatest guitarists of all time, in my opinion. I mean, I might get shot the fuck down for it, but I'll stand by it.
And should it even be a thing? Is it just kind of silly?
I think it's
letting people just judge what they think is the people that are.
I mean, music's always subjective,
right? You know what I mean?
It's always up to opinion.
Is Slayer in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't believe so.
See, why not? That should have been something that's done a long time ago.
They should be in there, especially for their impact on.
Yes, just in general of metal,
I'd say they have a long history of not. It took forever Judas Priest to even get a mention in there, let alone someone like Slayer.
Which that's just ridiculous.
But they got a mention, but that's all they got, right?
Yeah, they won some other separate award, not an actual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, but it was some other side award thing that they had.
Was it a lifetime achievement?
Something like that. It was something along those lines.
That's like a slap in the face.
Pretty much is.
That's like a kiss from a stepsister. You don't want that. Well, I mean, it depends on what she looks like.
Well, then, and as an artist...
in case you forgot, this podcast is based in Kentucky.
As an artist, and if you get upset about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, does that make you kind of, you know what I mean, pretentious or something? We're not
some people care about getting in, others don't really care. Iron Maiden is another one who's not in there and should be in there, but they don't really care.
Yeah, have you ever heard him go on stage? Man, why are we in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I think it's all in how you do it, too. If you're going to say something like that, you can't come out on that award or that show which they announce the inductees and be like, why the fuck we ain't there? But if you're somebody let's say Judas Priest, who's still not in there yet, I would ask that question. It's why the fuck ain't we in there yet?
Yes, that's definitely a big omission to be leaving out.
Yeah,
because Judas Priest is a band that's had much mainstream success and much success in just the metal genre alone.
And they're still going.
And still going, very strongly, in fact. But yeah, Jan Winter has since released an apology saying that he did not mean to disparage the contributions of women and black musicians in the history of rock and roll.
And wouldn't that suck for him though? Let's say he did it, he put the book together, he's not even paying attention, he just picked his favorite ones that he remembers.
I mean, he sends
it off and it's in the mail and he's like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? And he's like, no, and it's already too late. Maybe, you never know. If you give him the benefit of the doubt, he's either he's okay or he intentionally was kind of a butthole.
I mean, think about it though. You interviewed all these great rock bands from history, and to me, there's 3 that come to mind right off the rip. Going back to that date and time that he probably interviewed these guys, is the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, and let's see, I don't know if he interviewed Clapton or not, but that would be one I'd put in.
I bet David Lee Roth.
If he's interviewed Lennon, then he should have interviewed Clapton.
Well, the Beatles. I forgot about it. He interviewed the Beatles. But the 3, the Stones, the Beatles, and Hendrix.
Yeah. Those are definitely all big ones that you have to include.
You gotta include those 3. But did he even include Hendrix?
No, apparently it's just these interviews in the subtitle that's this part of this book is. So I suppose Hendrix is not. I don't know if he ever actually interviewed Hendrix, considering the time period.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, because I know that Lennon died in what,
Maybe
1980?
those are the only 7 concerts he ever
79
went
or
to in
80.
his life.
One of the two. I think it was.
Yeah, because if he founded Rolling Stone in '83, he's probably reported for a few years before that. So it's probably interviewed Lennon the latter part of his life, and couldn't interview Hendrix because he might have been too young for that.
When it went all fucking crazy and got popped in the back of the head.
Yeah, but
Well, wait a minute. Did he get popped in the back of the head or in the chest piece?
I do not remember where he got shot. I just know he did get shot.
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Yes, but yeah, that is pretty much all on Jan Werner. Another story of this is an interesting one. This is something in Cyrus's range of like knowledge, I would assume, because deals with hardcore.
There you go.
See, this is about the Cro-Mags, Harley Flanagan's Cro-Mags. I don't know the version with the other guy that used to be in the band. But Cro-Mags were recently involved in some incident at a venue called Cafe 611 in Frederick, Maryland. On Tuesday, September 12th, they were in a big kerfuffle, or some scuffle, with members of a local music zine called Destroy Zine. Where there was a huge fight that broke out. Mace was sprayed, friggin' like razor blades. Like apparently, like Harley Flanagan like was cut with like a razor blade through his pants and had to perform their set there, like while like Mace still in his eyes and like bleeding from a razor blade wound. This was a whole lot of he said, she said in this whole incident that happened. This is also like DRI was the headliner for the show that happened, and DRI is also like part of this, where they were like witnesses to this like fight that happened. According to Harley Flanagan and the Cro-Mags camp, they with this zine called Destroy Zine that they got into a fight with. He alleges that the zine asked for an interview over Instagram, I believe it was, and they declined to give him an interview, but they did give him 3 press passes so they could like come to the show and report on it and all that. And he claims that the members of the zine jumped them at the merch table over at DRI's merch table. Both like Harley Flanagan himself and his son, apparently, that was there with them as well. Making claims that what he says are false claims, that he is like sexually assaulted one of their female editors and attacked one of their other editors as well. And it's being investigated by the police, and like Cro-Mags, DRI, and the venue owner of Cafe 611 are all basically giving statements and trying to cooperate with the police, and saying that this Destroy Zine publication has been involved in like other similar fight incidents like this before. And also as part of the fight, like he said that he was like attacked with a razor blade, like through his parents. They got mace in his eyes, and they were spraying mace wildly in a room full of people here where the merch table was. And that it was a whole just like giant fight that they just essentially got jumped at. And apparently they dropped some first aid kit stuff like iodine and sutures and stuff. So apparently they came to this venue looking for a fight of some way. According to the zine, however, from their perspective, they said that they asked to like interview the band, or said that they were invited to this like show to like for interview the band and such. And they said that Flanagan was like sexually harassing like their female editors, said was like slapping her on the thigh and making very coarse remarks, saying that you should keep your legs closed, girl, or else I'll find a way in there, or something weird along those lines. And apparently, like, just seemed like he was like really like stalking the girl as well, like at the show, and got into an altercation with one of their other zine members, and said that like after the like assault and him like stalking the girl and like basically getting into a fight with one of their other members, he said that's when they fought them in self-defense rather than like them just jumping them. So this is a whole he said, she said. All of these are still just allegations at this point. And like apparently the FBI might even get involved, because this has been like a running thing apparently with this Destroy Zine small publication.
If the FBI gets involved, they're going to be in trouble if they have to start talking to friends. There has been 32 members, including the current ones, in the Cro-Mags. That's how many people have been. 32 people have been in and out of that band. I can't believe they're still around. When you said
I mean,
that,
there's two different versions. There's the one with there's had a separate singer whose name is escaping me right
There's
now.
a Paris Mayhew. I don't know if he was one of the singers, but yes, it says 81 to 2002. Then like a hiatus, and then they came back in 2008. Yeah, because when you said that, I was like, dude, I can't believe those dudes are still rolling. But they're the people that have been in their band is like it's like 5 scrolls on your phone.
Like, there's been like a whole. I mean, there's like 2 different. I think for a while there was 2 different versions of Cro-Mags because there's the one that's the official Cro-Mags that's run by Harley Flanagan.
Yes.
And then there's I think his name's John Joseph is the other guy who was like the other vocalist for Cro-Mags or was a member of the classic lineup for a good while. They apparently fell out of odds, and there's like 2 separate versions of the band now. I think one of them's like Cro-Mags AD or something.
I think that's right. I think I've seen that with the AD.
Yeah, this is just a huge whole incident, and like this is freaking the hardcore scene being the hardcore scene with a lot of drama back and forth.
Now that John Joseph dude sings for band Blood Clot, I guess,
Blood Clot
is his band now.
I think I heard of their name before.
He's 60 years old. Like, yeah, I was gonna say,
he's a big time like he's big into like veganism and like decathlon shit. Like he's big into like what he calls like plant-based diet stuff and like that whole scene of how it goes.
Vegan lifestyle, anti-vaccine stance.
All I remember is that he has a
positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
Triathlete, competitor, absolutely.
All I remember is that he has a book called Meat is for Pussies, which is talking about like veganism and such.
Like meat is like you put it in a pussy?
No,
like
as in
for a pussy?
You know what he means that. As in meat is for pussies. As in like...
Because I agree with that. I don't think there should be toys that could take the place of us. We needs to be meat.
That sounds like insecurities to me, Cyrus.
Well, I just know robots are going to come out here and it's, how you going to beat a robot? That's all I'm saying.
Determination.
Right?
Robot's gonna...
It's going to know things. It's going to have...
Not robots that can beat you off as well in the future.
Right, right. But if R2-D2 rolled out with all his little things coming out, it's like, you're not going to... He's going to know things. And he can shock you at the same time.
Yeah, I'm into that stuff.
Sorry, I don't know what...
That sounds like my type of party right there.
Oh, and another...
I guess, talking about the Cro-Mags, it makes you act that way.
Well,
so, you know what? They're guilty. They just did that.
These are like named after cavemen,
right,
essentially.
that's right. They just turned us Neanderthal right in 5 seconds.
Well, right with that is... Who was it again? Destroy Z?
Destroy Zine.
Destroy Zine.
Yeah, which that's another question I have. Who still does zine publications in 2023?
I don't know, but when I go to interview people all the time, because I have a job as an interviewer too, I always pack a surgical suture kit and iodine because I'm just ready for anything, and razor blades and mace.
Ready for action.
Yeah. Just because I don't know what's going to happen. No, that's whoever believes their side of the story is probably fucking a flat earther.
Well, and plus, like the flat earthers talk and this talk, it's like any press is good press. You know what I mean?
Well, that is true.
They probably just had like 80 more Spotify downloads last Tuesday because of all this.
I feel like a lot of people are behind the zine because they got their side of the story out a lot faster than Cro-Mags did. So, like, Cro-Mags will be getting a lot of, like, death threats and a lot of, like, negative attention due to the zine talking about stuff.
If they went there with iodine, a suture kit, mace, and razor blades, they knew what was going to... They probably already wrote the story before they even fucking
They want to cancel the Cro-Mags. They're going after them.
Also, like, they're part of the zine's shtick is that their members wear ski masks. And they were wearing ski masks at the show as well, and they apparently, according to Flanagan, he said they thought that they were either with or part of one of the bands that was playing on the show.
Why would you wear a ski mask to a show?
Yeah, I'm surprised that they kind of let them in there with those on.
Yeah, that's
all things considered.
Like, you can't carry a gun in there, obviously, for good reason, but. Maybe
they put the ski mask on after they were inside or something. I don't know the exact details on how they...
Like, the only time I ever wore a ski mask... Well, that's getting into illegal territory. The only time I ever wore a ski mask is when I was conducting activities.
Josh has lived the life, people, just in case you didn't know.
There's no reason to wear a ski mask unless you're skiing or doing shit you shouldn't be doing.
Doing some sketchy stuff.
I do feel like there was a time I was going to some shows, and it's probably early 2000s, that you would see the kids wearing like masks, and that's when like the ninja kick started happening, when people just started jumping and kicking in the air. Do you know what I mean?
Hardcore dancing stuff.
Like I remember at a Snapcase show, it was at the in Louisville, and like it was what is that, Crazy Fest. I flew back here to see it, and it was Sick of It All, Snapcase, and I can't remember who else, Strife or something, played like right in a row. And then when Snapcase came on, everybody had like mask they put on, and it was like weird, and everybody just started to do the kick. They weren't doing it any other time, but when they came on, I remember like, what's going on? It was just weird. I just remember seeing that, and then I saw that a few other places where kids were putting on like a mask and just doing the ninja kick. Well, are you allowed to say ninja? Is that okay?
Yes, you can say ninja.
I think it's kind of, well, it comes down like if you're Slipknot and you're wearing the mask to perform, that's one thing. If you're wearing like a ninja mask that goes with your outfit, that's a different thing. But if you're putting on a ski mask, the first thing that comes to my head is, oh, you robbing somebody. There's no mountains around here. There's no snows. You don't have any skis. You're going to an indoor event. There's no slopes on the inside, at least I think of. I don't know, a couple of women are pretty thick, you know. They got them indoor slopes, you know what I mean? But
On a tangent
no, you know, I'm staring off into space
yeah.
listening to you talk, and it reminds me of another fad. Like, so we saw the ninja kicks at the one Crazy Fest, and then they had another one later down the road we flew back to, and it was 7 seconds, like hot water music. I think, you know, and I remember there was a band before that, and it was the band that everybody liked now. Of course, I didn't know who they were. And they were all wearing like little tight, like booty short kind of blue jeans. And that was like, that I realized was a thing. And I was like, man, everybody's got little blue jeans were a thing at this band, at this show. And I remember that. I don't know. I don't know if that was a phase you remember, but all of a sudden, instead of baggy pants, I was like, wow, everybody's got little like t-shirts on and they're wearing like little shorts. I mean, I'm not against it, but I just remember, and everybody in the band was like playing. I was like, this is kind of. It was just not something like I was used to seeing.
I don't remember what that is.
Because at that point, you know, the skaters had just come out of the big giant ass pants and the big. What were the pants that people wore that had the big ass?
Junkos?
Yeah. How many Jinkos did you own, Donte?
Yeah. I owned no Jinkos.
Yeah.
I actually didn't get into like the alternative fashion stuff until post high school.
I had a pair of Jinkos, so I know you had to have a
I didn't have Jinkos. Because Jinkos, like everybody at school I knew who had Jinkos were like the weirdest motherfuckers around.
Well, I mean, that is true, but no.
Like, I never got into Jinkos, and my family would never bought me Jinkos.
Some of those got crazy for a minute. Yeah. Like, it was like, what is going on? Like, obnoxious. Like,
especially like the black ones that were ripped in the front. Yeah, and had all kinds of belts on them. It looked like they were.
Those are making a comeback. No,
they don't need to.
The new metal scene's come back. Billie Eilish helped repopularize Jinkos by a lot.
Oh man, I remember that.
I think I remember.
I feel like
I was young, obviously, but I think I remember that.
I feel like I might be wrong, but like Juggalos, I still think rock Jinkos, don't they? Like black ones. I feel like I've seen them walking through the bus stop, and I feel like I saw them with pants that you couldn't see their shoes, or even if they had legs, they were just like rolling down the road.
Yeah, that was also a fun festival that I went to once. Gathering of the Juggalos.
Gathering of the Juggalos. I've had some friends that have been there and know somebody that performed at it too before.
I bet it's so awesome.
I know a couple people that have performed at it actually now at this point.
You see some weird shit there though. Like,
well, it is like, Juggalos.
Like I'm into some weird shit, but when I went there, I was like, oh damn, they really out here. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go see Busta Rhymes.
I feel like after one of their shows, if you were allowed to go after the crowd left and take like a metal detector, you would like find like so much treasure and earrings and change and stuff from like after seeing them play with the crowd.
I did find a nipple ring in my drink.
That's what I'm just saying. I bet there's tons of like piercing parts that are just on the ground that you can pick up.
Yeah, it was a pretty expensive one too. I could tell.
Oh man, but yeah, that's. We're talking about Cro-Mags. We're going on a tangent.
Cro-Mags.
But yeah, that's essentially
and
everything.
DRI, just in case anybody wants to hear dated shit too.
Yeah, Dated Robin M still gets a lot of
They
praise.
played at Bogart's back in the 90s like all the time, and they were known, like, if you ask any metal dude from back in the day that went there, if you like, what's the craziest, like, pit? What's the craziest pit you ever saw? It was DRI always won for some reason. It was they could, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of their music, but they could make a crowd go nuts. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. They're still doing it. Are they doing it because they love it, or are they doing it because they need to get paid?
Probably both.
Well, I guess it
Definitely the
paid
paid
for
parts.
loving it, then you're doing good. Got DRI,
The paid part's
Cro-Mags, I'm
definitely
hyped
part
for
of it.
you. I'm pulling for you. I hope nobody gets investigated by the FBI.
But yeah, it's still like all allegations back and forth currently, but it's not looking good on the side of the zine with how that's happening.
No, and it shouldn't. If you're involved in multiple instances like that, then chances are.
Like maybe you're the problem.
Why are people just dicks now like
Like-
that too? Like it's the hackers that hit the PlayStation 5 or you know what I mean? Fuck up your Christmas. Like why go fuck with just leave the Cro-Mags alone. They're old dudes. They're doing the best they can. Like why just leave them alone?
Yeah, I mean,
Leave Cro-Mags alone.
Yeah, leave Cro-Mags alone.
Another fun, positive story, actually. I actually have some positivity in this podcast here. Someone who I never expected to mention on this podcast, Boy George.
Yes.
yeah, do you really want to hurt me?
Like 80s pop star Boy George is apparently a fan of Napalm Death.
Yes.
He was recently at a show in Australia where Napalm Death was playing. And apparently he's a real big fan of the band set. His post that he put on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, says, quote, "Saw the Noise Monsters' official Napalm Death last night and my ears are still ringing," he says in the post. "Loved all the stuff Barney, the lead singer of Napalm Death, had to say. Totally tight band. No other way of saying it. Hey Barney, see you at the coffee counter. Comment of the night, shut up you fresh-faced fucker."
That's interesting.
So Boy George is, I wouldn't imagine Boy George is the guy who sung that song, you mentioned before, fucking being into grindcore of all fucking genres. Apparently he has a wide palette of musical interest.
Well, he's just like me. He likes a little bit of everything, Donte.
Really likes a little bit of everything. Just like, I don't know, like
cover.
I just could imagine like, hey Boy George, you like Napalm Death?
What if he makes a comeback?
And he's on tour. The reason he's in Australia seeing him is because he was on tour with his band Culture Club.
They're still going?
Apparently still going. Boy George is still a thing. Culture Club still a thing. Or if it's a revived thing. They did break up for a while.
They're going to do a crossover album. Boy George is going to sing on their hit single.
All right, number one, I love Boy George.
Do you really want Napalm Death?
Call of Chameleons, amazing song. Napalm Death has had 26 different members over the years, and I have seen Napalm Death. And they were the first. I saw them in 1991, and it was the first band that I saw where the guy sang like the Napalm Death guy. Like most of the metal I liked was more Slayer, Overkill, not more the deep, dark. And he came out, and I remember he was like, and I think he was not from our country, if I'm not mistaken.
Napalm Death are British.
Okay, yeah, because I remember he was like, "Hello," he's like, "This next song's about this first song's about my girlfriend," and I was like, "Yeah," and then he was like, "Brr," and then I was like, "Holy shit," and they like went berserk. That was like the first time. That was a show, just to let you all know, with Sacred Reich, Sick of It All, Napalm Death, and Sepultura.
That's a pretty damn good lineup.
That was it was called the New Titans on the Block tour, and that was at Bogart's, and I got lifted up off the ground by a man like 4 times my size and punched straight in the face. I was really small. He had a big inverted cross tattooed on his back, and my friend went to battle him, and he said, "You don't do that here," and he said, "I'm from LA, that's how we do it."
Around that time period, I was shitting in diapers. Is what I was doing in 1991.
It was a good show.
I was still a sperm cell in Daddy's nutsack.
And, Bogarts Gets Wild and Sick of It All ended their show. They played Betrayed, the Minor Threat cover, and that place, I think Bogarts, they actually had to turn the lights on and, tell everybody to calm down because their chairs came off the balcony and stuff. I mean, things got out of control. It was pretty good. I got punched in the face, so it was a good show.
Oh, Napalm Death.
So I don't know who was singing then, but it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, I don't remember Barney Greenway was in the band. I know he wasn't on Scum, which is their big classic record that everybody talks about.
Hey, and they've done it. They're still around. You know what I mean?
Still
they
around,
still
going
got
strong.
people. They're still...
Released a new record back in 2020 or 2021, actually.
Wait a minute.
What?
Damn. I went to Vegas and my friend's Life Torment, my friend played bass in their band. They opened for Napalm Death, and it was at a really little place, on the strip. It was bigger than this room, but it was I was shocked that it was Napalm Death. It was they were playing it wasn't like a house show, but it was it was very small venue. And I think when the opening band was playing, my friend's band, our friends were there, but it it was one of those deals where like no one was really there, and then all of a sudden, when everybody seemed to know when Napalm Death was coming on the stage,
People
because
get hyped for
it went
Napalm
from
Death.
like 7 people in the room to like 70 people in the room. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like oh, I felt bad for my friends. I was like, dang, like it was sad.
But it's kind of cool to see someone like Boy George, someone who's like, I mean, maybe not pop mainstream today, but is a pop legend, appreciating a more underground legend like Napalm Death. It's an interesting mixture.
Well, I mean, they're both from Britain.
They are both British, but things are like,
But
we don't say that about people from America just because we're
well,
from
true,
America.
but Britain's like the size of Alabama. So there's not really a whole lot you can move around with. So the artists are probably going to bump into each other a whole lot more.
Possibly.
The pub,
Into Australia, a world away. No
yeah,
less.
yeah. And then, well, I mean, the pub scene is big there too. If you're going to play music at all, it's going to be starting in the pubs.
Sure.
So they probably knew of each other a long time before that.
That is possible.
Boy George was pretty good.
Good. But in one of the bigger stories, really this is a continuing story. I've given, like, this is the first podcast episode in a while, so I haven't reported on it yet, outside of mentions on the Facebook. But Blue Ridge Rock Festival. This has been an ongoing story for the past month since the festival got canceled. Had to shut down the festival early, like 2 days in, on September 9th, earlier this month. This just been a whole ongoing clusterfuck of revealing how terribly managed that whole festival was with Blue Ridge Rock Fest. To this date, the festival ended on September 9th, was where they canceled it, which they claimed was due to weather. But it is now September 24th, and no refunds have been issued yet to the concert goers. And probably waiting on their insurance to kick in so they can pay back people. But with this, no refunds, on top of that, at the actual festival where this happened, there was tons of stories of mismanagement. The crew that worked there wound up striking, and that's seemed to be a reason as to why they actually canceled, and not just due to inclement weather. But there was a lack of easily available water sources that were there when they were setting up the festival. Shower facilities for the crew and the bands were not working properly. The campsites that they had for the concert goers were mold infested and didn't have friggin' adequate facilities. There was, when the weather did get bad, they had a lack of shelter for the concert goers, as well as not enough shuttle buses to get them all out there, out of the way of the bad weather. They oversold the festival, according to the sheriff's department of the area. They said they were told that there was 45,000 tickets sold, and they said they made estimates of at least 50,000 to possibly 60,000 people that were there at the fest. So they oversold it and didn't have the facilities for it. Overflowing trash cans, overflowing porta potties. It was just a whole giant, anything that could go wrong went wrong. Outside of the bands that were scheduled still were able to play, but the crew had a struggle of switching between the bands because there was a lack of staff due to the, not firings, but there was the striking that was happening due to the very poor management that happened. Notable YouTube personality, Tank the Tech, did a whole 30-minute YouTube video detailing all of the issues that they had and how the setup was terrible at the festival and how it was very poorly mismanaged. Local Virginia News is investigating the incident, and no bands have spoken out about the incident, most likely because the festival had them sign NDAs, if I had to guess. Because with how many outspoken musicians and people that were on the festival, you'd think someone would have said something at this point.
You would think after that Woodstock Netflix thing came out that you would every festival better be on lockdown, ready to go.
Even after the Woodstock,
man.
what was that? Fire Island or
Firefest.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Firefest. You would think after that everybody would be minding their P's and Q's, especially on festivals, having stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
But
Well, this is supposed to be a 4-day festival out near Virginia, it seems like. It was, I had some friends that went to it, said that it was a very bad experience, especially once they had the cancels due to the rain, where they just couldn't get everybody out at a decent amount of time, so people just out in the open field getting rained on, probably getting sick on top of that.
Like,
Well,
what's fun about that, though, anymore? Like, they just had that festival here. It's like, unless, you're going to go somewhere, you're going to sleep somewhere in a tent or your car for 3 days and use a porta-john and just try to exist while you see bands in like the most uncomfortable situation. And like, unless you've got the hotel room that you walk across the pavilion and you're right there, it's like, I mean, it'd be hard. Like, I'd have to be some really good bands to like do that. Like just
the lineup was pretty solid.
The lineup was
knee
pretty
deep
solid.
in porta-john stuff to go see my favorite band. It'd be tough anymore.
Well, then again, we ain't no spring chickens.
Right. But I hate when you hear that because they spend a lot of money. Like you said, the band's got their money. They don't care. It's not they don't care, but they're out.
Funny thing is, like, the festival touts themselves as the cheapest major rock festival in America.
Well, I believe it now.
Since they have the lowest ticket prices compared to everybody. But it seems like those lower ticket prices also gets you what you pay for, with how poorly managed it was and the slow return of refunds that they have.
If I pay $15 a day to go to a four-day concert, I don't really expect much. I expect to get rained on. That's just a part of it. If I catch hypothermia because I'm getting rained on because I was too dumb to get towards the back whenever the weather started getting bad, that's my fault.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they, it just seemed like it was a whole cluster. Like, I was thinking about going to that festival this year too because the ticket prices seemed reasonable, the lineup was strong, but yeah, kind of glad I didn't now. Seeing how that all went.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have got to make it because the tickets I was going to buy was on Saturday and Sunday, so I wouldn't even have made it.
Yeah, so like you'd just be waiting on a refund now still for a show you didn't get to go to.
I guess I couldn't go and crap on the damn ground. Yeah.
I read though too, like where they canceled because of the weather. I don't remember the lady's name, and maybe it wasn't even a real story, and I made it up. But I feel like in one of those little towns, they had put together like a free outdoor show, and they paid some country lady that was her country singer lady to come, and she canceled because they knew the weather was going to be bad. But they'd already given her like guarantee, and they'd spent all this money on the to fire the department and the police and getting it set up. So after she canceled, they asked if they could have the money back, and she was just like, no,
no, this is my money now.
And she had no plans to reschedule, and like she even because I remember like they showed her.
I think I remember that story.
Whatever it is, Twitcher or whatever, the little place where people write their things down.
Twitter,
yeah,
or X now.
Whatever, yeah, I don't have it, but I've seen it. But yeah, it was like basically like, sorry I didn't get to come out. Sorry I won't be back around anytime. Like it was basically like but like she was, and it was like it was crazy. It was like 120 grand or something. It was some insane amount of money that would like save the town from like the bad weather. And she's like, no, I'm good. I was like, dang. But then I was like, it'd be hard to give that back. You know what I mean? Like you just got that kind of money. You didn't do anything. Like,
could you
just turn your back and just be like, sorry, little town, I'm going to buy some stuff.
That's pretty late. I forget the name of who that was, but like it was some female country artist.
Yeah. I was like, dude, that's dirty. But
I would do it. But that's me.
Well, this is why no one gives you that much money.
But if you've already got a shitload of money, like you're an ass. Like you know what I mean? Like
thanks for the cash.
Yeah, like
I want even more.
It's like
just because I got $1 million, that don't mean I'm going to turn down $120K. I want more. I'm greedy.
Oh man,
but I see the point, and then I'm just a greedy asshole. Is that maybe she should at least give back 60%
something, because
she didn't take any time out of her day going down there and singing. She didn't take any time out of her day going down there and greeting the people or signing autographs or something. Give back 60% at least. Keep 40. I'll give you that caveat. Keep 40. Just give us back 60. Something to help out.
Something that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Festivals are rough.
Those are rough. Like currently, right now, Louder Than Life is happening in our state here, Kentucky, up in Louisville, and I got a number of friends that are currently at that. And that festival seems to be running well, but even then, like porta potties are like baking shit boxes, is what my friend Maddie has said about it.
Do you just not poop? Do you figure out a way? Is there something you can take?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just, like...
Just keep yourself stuffed up. Think so you're out there eating greasy food the whole time.
You can sneak peas
drinking
places,
beer.
yeah.
You're going to have to shit at some point.
Oh, man. There's got to be a way. There's a way.
There is a way. But it involves getting your hands on MREs. Because if you eat like 3 of those things, you can eat 1 a day and survive. But if you eat 3 of those things, you're not shitting for a week.
Are they built to not like make you shit or something?
Pretty much, yeah. They're like... Everything is supposed to be broken down in your body. It's like 1,200 calories. You eat one of those little hitters. They taste like cardboard and shit wrapped into a little burrito. But, hey, you ain't got to shit after them. Unless you get the chili mac or the chili with beans, and then you're just stuck in that porta potty. Your feet's nailed to the floor.
What about just popsicles and like lollipops and like gobstoppers, like things that just you suck on that don't, like, you know what I mean, that turn into not poop.
Well, that would
do you know
work,
what I mean? Like,
that
could
would
you
work
do
for
that?
a day.
Like, if you took a bunch of if you just had one of them big,
Because you'd still be really hungry. Like,
if you always had one of them big ass, like not them little box ones, like them big giant
them
gobstoppers,
jaw
like the
breakers.
fuckers jaw, like that. It takes you like 3 days. If you just put that in your mouth,
Well,
would that be enough?
no.
To
Nah,
get you
not
through
enough
it?
calories.
say no.
Especially if you're out in the sun sweating. You'd sweat out
What
a
if
lot
you
of that.
like fucking took A1 sauce every now and then out of your pocket
Even then, those are
and
spices.
put it around your gobstopper so it would be like you have some steak or
I mean,
something
maybe if
in
you've
your
done
mouth.
maybe if you've done it with a little bit of a help, like some natural organic ingredient that I used to be a fan of back in the day. I'm not now, but if you've done
Natural
that,
organic
then
ingredient.
then you won't be hungry for at least.
Well, now
3
we know
days.
we could set up a table out front of a festival and come up with like no poop juice. If we could do it and figure it out, like we could
make a whole
people would
quick
be
buck off of
standing
that.
in line like they'd be so excited.
All you need is a block of cheese to sell everybody a block of cheese.
Like a government cheese. That'll
Yeah.
keep you nice and stuffed up.
Yeah, that's like a cork. You can use that both ways too. You could just cork up your butt of your asshole, or
Is government cheese still like a thing? Do
Yeah, it
people
is.
still get it?
I saw
If you get welfare, I think,
Yeah.
it's still a thing.
you can get them and like
And it's like a block of cheese.
Yeah,
I've
it's a
seen it.
brick.
Like I didn't know if that was real or not.
It's
like,
a real thing. At
That's
least
a
it
real
was a real
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
it's like a loaf of bread but heavier.
I don't think it melts properly either.
No, it don't. I got hit by one once, and that shit hurt.
And I think it has a label that's just white. And I think it even in writing it says "government block of cheese." I think it's wrote out just like that on the piece on the cheese.
Jesus.
Yeah, it says government cheese on a big stamp, and I think it says like Type C down below it for like cheddar. I got hit with a Monterey Jack. That was.
Oh, they got different flavors of cheese. Government cheese. I couldn't remember. Like my family was on when I was a kid. My family was on food stamps, but I don't remember this having government cheese.
Well, yeah, we got it once, and my grandma was too proud for that, so she quickly got off of it. And like, hey, we're just going to go down here and work for these Mennonites, and they're going to give us food. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, that works. I still miss government cheese though. Sometimes that stuff tasted good, but then sometimes you get hit by it.
I didn't. The first time as a kid when I heard about food stamps, I thought they were actually like stamps, like little stamps.
They used to be.
And I think they were for a minute there. And I remember like I took my out of my dad's desk like his roll of stamps, and I took it to the store to get a candy bar to think that I could pay for them with the stamp. Because I was like, these are food stamps, and he didn't believe me. But I remember trying as a child to pay for stuff with real stamps.
That sounds like a kid thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I lived where I lived. Like a lot of people, definitely you definitely had food stamps over in Center Parkway. You definitely had to go to Food Town.
Old Center Parkway.
That's right.
Yeah.
Old Center Parkway. That's right.
Blue Ridge Rock Fest. That is, like I don't know. We'll see if you can already pre-order tickets for next year. They have it on their website. But we'll see if that gets canceled or not with the bad reputation this festival has already gotten.
Yeah, they might want to like take that down for now until
Not the time to be asking for more money.
But people are like, there's probably people that have already bought a ticket. You know what I mean? Like
Possibly.
You know what I mean? Like they're like, somebody's gonna buy a ticket.
Yeah, because there's always that benefit of the doubt. I was like, well, maybe this time will be different. Like I forgot what band I saw, and I was like, well, they're just kind of shit tier right now. And then I went back and saw them again, like, oh, okay, so they do know how to play their instruments. So, I mean, they could just be like, well, they'll fire their manager, they'll be more prepared for it next year, and they'll come out on top. It's still not going to get past this, like not giving people their money back.
Yeah, they kind of have to do that before they start pushing for the next year of festivals.
Yeah.
And the festivals, I feel like, I think that's why I quit seeing so many live bands, because everybody just started going in festivals. You know what I mean?
A lot of the bands that I want to see that come through Kentucky, they always just do Louder Than Life and never.
And
do
that's
any other
it.
thing.
Like, and it's like, man, I can't go all day now to go see a band in a spot that I'm not going to be like you said. I don't want to have to worry about the Porta John while waiting in a crowd of 700 million people to see this band. Like, I want to see him at Bogart's or where. What do we have around here?
We got Rupp Arena.
We got the Manchester
Manchester
House,
Music
the
Hall
Borough,
for
or
like
whatever. Yeah, like
1,200 cap.
Yeah, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You much rather go. We Dinosaur Jr. at the Borough. That was nice. Little show. It was good.
We get some like decent sized stuff in Lexington, but like it's most of the stuff comes through Louisville.
Everything goes to Louisville. That's right.
I don't even like Louisville, really.
Oh, Louisville.
We're in Louisville like decent amount of times for shows. I'm going there friggin' pretty soon in October for the Cannibal Corpse Mayhem tour.
I lost a tire in Louisville once.
And I just spurned you from Louisville ever since.
They've got so many good little venues though that are each one is different and they're like all fun. You know,
they'll have their own unique vibe.
Yeah,
to
like
them. The dive bars and the bigger venues.
And it's like and they're I like Louisville.
I'm trying to think of. I went to see a band. Well, yeah, I went to see a band. It wasn't. They were playing with New Medicine. I'm trying to think of who it was.
Hailstorm.
Maybe.
That's when I saw New Medicine was Hailstorm and New Medicine here in Lexington and Manchester.
Well, I saw them at it wasn't the KFC Arena. I'm trying to think of the little spot that they had there. But I parked my truck as when I was driving the old Yee wagon. I parked it on the side, parallel parked it, paid for my little meter, came back from that concert, fresh, hype, felt good, ready to drink and drive like a responsible person. Looked in the back of my truck, my tire was gone.
Did somebody steal it?
Somebody stole my tire.
God dang. Louisville for you.
So I'll never go back to Louisville. All my homies hate Louisville.
You guys do good in Louisville. Doesn't Storm Toker do good when you guys play shows in Louisville?
Honestly, not really.
Oh.
Speaking of which, come to our show in Louisville on October 1st, Sunday at Planet of the Tapes with us in Home.
Good segue.
Planet of the Tapes is good, yeah.
At Planet of the Tapes, Storm Toker and Home for the end of the Moose Pussy Express Tour 2. We have a show in like a week. A week from today, actually, is when that's happening.
Well, I might actually go to Louisville again just to support you, but I mean, if I get my tire stolen again, then
that's the last time we're in Louisville. See, one more story that actually, like, I did not do my due diligence on all the way, but Blink-182. How do y'all feel about Blink-182?
I got a love-hate relationship with them.
Well,
there's like 3 songs that I have stuck in my head, thanks because of them. But it's whatever.
It's probably saying 3 songs to everybody.
Exactly.
All the small things.
No, it's actually not one. Damn it is one I have stuck in my head.
I got just as growing up.
Yeah.
But anyway, they announced a new album this past week called One More Time. This is the first album to feature the quote classic lineup of Tom DeLonge, Mark Hoppus, and Travis Barker all together. And they've released 2 new singles called One More Time and More Than You Know. One More Time is a ballad song that a lot of Blink-182 fans have been going crazy over. And More Than You Know is a more classic sounding Blink song, which is more in a classic pop punk style, which sadly I don't know personally because I didn't get around to listening to the damn songs before we started this podcast. Validate those claims or not. I'll have to do that in the future, but I did listen to the single they released a few months ago, the first song they released when they announced their new tour with Tom DeLonge back in the band called Edging. And that song was terrible. That was not a good song at all.
That was the one that me and you were talking about, right? About, what was it, teenage humor and crap like that? Yeah,
and it's sort of weird because, like, the music video for Edging, that was, like, them at, like, an amusement park. And it's lyrics about, like, having sex with a girl in the backseat of a car or something. And, of course, the song title, of course, is a reference to freaking, like, edging yourself when you're spanking it and shit. And the music video is weird because they're singing this goofy pop-punk childish song, but they're all gray-haired and wrinkly now, and, like, they look like old men. You could tell they're old men. Freaking, like, Tom DeLonge, I think his hair's dyed, but his face, you can't hide his age in his face. Mark Hoppus is coming off of freaking recovering from cancer, and he's all gray-haired and wrinkly, too. And Travis Barker is just a goddamn vampire because he looks the fucking same for some reason.
I have a Travis Barker story. I don't know if it's real or not.
Oh, God. You're going to put more false information
out there. When my roommate joined the Poison the Well band, they actually had to live in a house in Riverside, California, and it was the house before they lived there because of the owner kind of helping bands get going. That was the Blink-182 house, and my roommate, who was the bass player for this particular band, had the room in the back where he claimed it was Travis's old room. And then the funny story about it is, you're in the middle of California, Riverside, in a neighborhood, and if you open the door or the window, all the houses are really close together. I slept on the floor, and when I got up, I opened the window. It was hella stuffy, and there was like 3. I thought they were ostriches, like 1 inch from the window, and I was like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?"
Ostriches?
And I guess the neighbors had pet emus in their backyard, and like
You
the
can have
houses
pet
are so
emus?
close. Yes, you could have emus, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And they're like, "Yeah, they have emus next door," and I guess at one point they had a monkey. So they were telling us all these crazy stories about the animals getting loose. But yes, imagine waking up. I mean, it's kind of a funny story.
This isn't just a high Cyrus story.
No, this is for real. Like this is a real tale. Like the guy that kind of helped Blink 182, and then helped poison the well. His name was Bill, and I think he was he helped start Coachella. So this is one of his houses, and like no, it was real. Like in the garage, there was like some very high end, cool hot rods and some drum sets. No, it was like a place where he put bands he was producing up. He like would put them in this house for a while. So I would go out there and visit, because my friend was in the band. So it was just interesting that's where he ended up. And there's emus living next door. Emus are like a giant ostrich in your backyard, at just a normal house. I mean, I think it's weird here. People I guess it's not weird I think it's neat that you're seeing more and more chicken coops in neighborhoods, but I don't know what an emu does, if it gives you an egg or if it just hangs out.
How much of that vape have you hit so far?
Enough to where I've been thinking about emus for a minute now.
I gotta timestamp that. That's like a highlight. But yeah, like I haven't listened to it, but apparently a lot of Blink-182 fans are hyped about this One More Time song. Apparently the song is essentially centered around themes of friendship and like basically like chronicles like how they got back together as a band due to tragedies of Travis Barker getting in his plane accident that he survived and had to recover from, and bassist Mark Hoppus recovering from cancer, which is the reason why they've recently gotten back together and started basically befriending each other again as a band.
That's nice.
Are you sure it doesn't have anything to do with aliens?
I mean, you would think that with the recent alien discoveries, Tom DeLonge would be a little too occupied to bring his band back up again.
I don't like Blink-182's music at all. I call it Hot Topic music. I'm sure all the guys in the band are really nice. It's not my music. But like the fact that dude was bold enough to like kind of leave that world behind and for whatever reasons to pursue ufology, that's a pretty bold, that's a lot of vape pens, you know what I'm saying? That's bold to do that.
He's got a lot of hangers.
And I give him credit because he's going in the right direction.
If aliens do wind up becoming real and like Tom DeLonge and he's
the guy. He's the company. Yeah, he's the ambassador.
In the future history books, when they're talking about the first contact and discovery of aliens, they'll have to mention Tom DeLonge and his company and the fact that he was in this pop punk band for a number of years. That's going to be like an interesting thing to see for future generations having history.
Is 182 like some sort of special prime number that we don't know about? I don't
know. No, actually, I just like refreshed myself on where that came from.
That's not even a prime number.
Yeah, that's. I don't think Cyrus is someone who knows what prime numbers really are.
It's an Optimus Prime number. It's beyond prime.
But actually, like the story of that happening, they originally were just called Blink, and when they were about to release their album, the label they were on said, "There's another band that already has the copyright to the name Blink, so we need a new name." And on the spot, they just came up with the 182 number that's attached to it. There's no special meaning. There's nothing it stands for, anything like that. They just thought 182, and that's their name now.
One band, 8 members, 2 different species, humans and aliens. That's what it is.
What about that's gotta suck if you're a band and you're like getting ready to roll and you're like, yeah, and you're like, somebody just used your name already. Like I love Dinosaur Jr. They were a dinosaur and they found out they added Junior, same deal.
Back in the day, like they didn't have the internet to like look up names that are already taken like we do now.
Green Jello, Green Jelly, I remember when that.
Well, that was just a lawsuit with the Jello company.
And imagine if you had that, like you got that CD right now, the original, before they changed their name. Like you've got like some shit you can put on eBay, you know what I mean?
Green Jello.
What was there's some good ones, like Grateful Dead. And then that other band was the Grateful Dead.
Right. There was I
just made that up.
Just imagine if Grateful Dead was chosen, what would they go with? It was like Pissed Off Alive.
Man.
some ridiculous fucking weird name like that.
I would love it.
But yeah, like I'd have to look at maybe Blink-182 will impress me. Sorry, I didn't listen to the song before this podcast started.
It's probably better that you did.
But we have one last story, which is probably the big story of this, and it's the most recent story out of all the stories today, because it's had a whole lot of freaking controversy happening back and forth, and this has been like the talk of the metal world for the past few days. Thy Art is Murder, very popular deathcore band, one of the most popular deathcore bands in the scene out of Australia. They just kicked out their longtime vocalist CJ McMahon. And it was a very non-ceremonious firing, because CJ McMahon didn't learn he was fired until he saw all the posts about it on social media when he woke up. They fired him on after the day of release of their new album that just dropped this past Friday, Godlike. And they took all of his vocals off of the digital version of the album, got someone else to record it, and they mixed and matched it and released the digital album with the new vocals on it all at once. The new singer for Thy Art is Murder now is Tyler Miller of Version's Crown fame, a fellow Australian deathcore band. And, of course, in case you haven't learned already, CJ McMahon came under fire earlier this month for retweeting a video from some right-wing pundit of some sort. I forget what the guy's name is, but that doesn't matter. That's led to CJ making a statement that was seen as a very anti-trans. This is the thing with that one. Where there was a video that was posted by this pundit of this mom asking their kid if they felt like a boy or a girl, and the kid said both. And like on that one, CJ said that the mom should be, quote, burned to death. Which is kind of just an extreme response, just a tad bit to that, I would say. But the band said that they didn't agree with CJ McMahon's statements, and that his firing isn't solely the cause due to that statement, but was the straw that broke the camel's back more so, saying that there was problems for a long time before this. And so now...
Is CJ related to Ed McMahon?
No, he's not related to Ed McMahon.
He's the guy, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, Vince
what about
McMahon,
Vince
that's
McMahon?
Not Vince McMahon either, but there has been some memes that Vince McMahon's going to be the new vocalist. They're playing
should
CJ
be.
today.
You're fired.
He could always do it.
Yeah, he could.
So he said some woman should be
burned to death. Quote, yes.
Because why?
She asked a child if they felt like a boy or a girl.
Her child. Her
child.
child. And the kid said both, and she accepted the answer, and apparently that didn't sit too well with CJ.
Okay. My first thought pops into my head. One, that's a little excessive. You shouldn't set the person on. I mean, I would not set anybody on fire just because I'm a firebug.
He's like to set people on fire. No
I
matter who they are, what they say.
Yeah, pretty much. But going back to it, I don't know why she'd asked the kid that, but at the same time, that's an acceptable answer from a fucking kid. I mean, when I was 4, I thought I was a fucking dog.
It's from a kid. Like, seem like, yeah.
Given, like, what do you feel like today? Oh fuck, I don't know. Let's just eat goldfish, and I want to go piss in the yard.
Essentially, like the way the video was set up, it seems like it was kind of like a internet cloudy TikTok thing, which is like what you did.
How do you like set that up? What do you do? Hey, this guy, he's walking by. Quick, ask me this question.
This is,
like, how does like
this is just her like asking her own kid, like, and have the camera on. Like,
and so he commented on something he was seeing. I
just
thought maybe he was like.
This wasn't in real life.
He was standing there, and she's like on her knee asking her kid this, and he's like, "What?
This was in response.
Burn the death."
This is in response to this is something he retweeted on Twitter.
So he's back on that Twitcher thing.
Yeah, this is a video that like a right wing pundit whose name I forget, who hasn't made a whole lot of like ridiculous statements.
People
on
have
everything.
got to stay off the computer.
Yeah,
it's like what do you just don't do it.
But yeah, like this video that was tweeted by the right wing pundit CJ retweeted himself with the statement of that the bomb should be burned to death.
That's a little excessive in my taste.
It's
But
definitely excessive.
Now, could he have copied and pasted that from something else?
No, he typed in the
you
quote.
have-
Maybe they were
quoted.
talking about
Yeah.
maybe cooking a chicken or a fish.
No,
or
you have to-
something, and
you have
he's
to
like
quote
commenting
it.
on like a cooking site or something.
Oh no, you have to click on it and then type it out.
I don't
and
have
then
that.
hit it
I don't
again.
do that.
You
that
hit
thing.
Cyrus doesn't do the Twitter. I barely do
Yeah,
the Twitter.
it's a 3-step process, so he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. He did say, like, after that incident happened, then the band made a post reiterating that they do they do support trans people and such. They,
It's kind of
We
sad that
support you, but we also have to set you on fire.
but, like, after that, like, they had CJ post an apology video, which is very corporate sounding, very fake sounding, and, like, no one really bought it. But then after his firing officially on the day of release of the album, CJ both said that he found out, like, via social media about his firing, and he released a separate video that went into more detail on what his views were, that the band didn't allow him to post, and made him do the more corporate sounding apology instead.
Well, was the one that he posted actually kind of like was it? Could you tell there was some meaning behind it? 'Cause I didn't watch it.
Yeah, well, you can tell that, like, not the corporate sounding apology that he first put out, but the one that he claims the band wouldn't let him put out. Does go into more detail, does, like, put more detail, like, what his views are, what he was coming from, and also said that he shouldn't have used the phrase "burn to death."
Yeah,
he did mention that part. He said this
And
language was a bit
it's
strong.
sad because none of this should matter to a band. It should be we should be talking about their new song, or they just did this, they just played this cool
Yeah, the
show.
timing's pretty bad 'cause their
the
album just
stupid
dropped.
internet, these dumb things. Oh, he's typed these sentences, and like you're dumb enough to sit there and do it. Like what? But it's like that shouldn't even be a thing in the world.
Yeah, like, if
you know what I
I'm
mean?
a-
Like it's so dumb.
if I'm a successful band and I put music out there,
like
and I
why
have
do
an
you
album
write that
come up,
anywhere?
the first thing I'm not going to do is jump on a computer and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
burn this bitch to death." I don't know, unless it's somebody like morbid, you know, like what was that one bitch's name that killed her kid, Casey Anthony or whatever? Yeah, then I'd say that probably. But you know, I'm staying off the internet.
It's
I'm
like
not
that's what
getting
you're
involved in anything.
It's like that's what's a bummer. It's like it's like gotten into everything. Like music's not just music anymore. You're a band, then you have your internet persona and your people's character. You're not just like, dude, come see the show. We'll trash the hotel room.
It's
Meet
kinda
us
hard.
out front. You know, now it's like you just know.
you have to put it out
You know,
there.
I like there's guys I follow band people, and it's weird. They'll like put like pictures of their family and this and stuff up. It's like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm following you for a band thing. I guess
Yeah.
I'm not. You know what I mean? I guess it is what it is. But I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that you have grandkids or something. But you know,
Well, I get that, but everybody wants to know more about their favorite band.
yeah.
Yeah, especially in the internet age where, like, essentially the key to people getting more into you is by, instead of seeing, like, a larger-than-life figure, they know you more as a person,
Yeah.
essentially.
Like Dave
great.
Or at least the
Grohl.
image of
Like,
how you are as a person.
Dave Grohl's one of the best. Like, you know, I like the Foo Fighters enough, but like, I like him more, even though I don't listen to him, just because Dave Grohl seems like so nice and like, you know, he's always
Yeah.
just being like, you can't say nothing bad about Dave Grohl. You know what I
everybody
mean?
likes Dave Grohl.
Yeah, he's like one of those dudes. He's like a good dude.
But he's always out. He's always talking.
Yeah, and he's-
I don't see him
yeah,
post.
you
I don't
know.
see him posting a lot. I don't know what.
I think he does enough interviews where he doesn't really have
Yeah,
to.
maybe
Yeah,
he stays
that's what I
off.
mean.
He's
Well-
not on there burning people alive or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's like you don't do that. You
And I think that's
know?
probably the right way to do it if you're like if I'm playing in a band or hell, even if I become a movie star one day, and that don't ever fucking happen. But if it did, I don't handle my Facebook accounts. I don't handle my
just
Twitter
don't have one
because
you
I know that if I'm like high as a kite, like I probably would be if I was a movie star or inebriated, I'm going to type some dumb shit and somebody's going to take it the wrong way, and then that's my ass. So I let somebody else handle that. Social media manager, somebody who can use better words than me, and then I'll just go out and talk to people. Because you can take a lot of things out of context.
That you can.
You ruin your whole career.
your
I mean,
whole
they,
image.
this is like some just like kind of under the radar like dude. Like you know, I mean,
Well, he's not really on the rail.
you know what I mean. But you know what I mean. He's not like you know Tom Cruise or anything. But like
As far as like the metal community and the
Yeah,
metal
you know,
community, he's
but
a
it's like-
superstar.
Yeah, but we're not talking like.
But
If Michael Jordan came out and said something, it's not going to be a global phenomenon.
Yeah, it's not
It's
gonna
not
be-
going to change the landscape of
But
the
it's like-
entire thing.
he's been in the game for a while. But it's like one of these people that's been in it forever, and all of a sudden you just type one dumb thing like that, and that's it. Like that's it. Either you got to hide for 3 years, you got to make apologies, and then that doesn't, like, how many people have apologized, and it's like, hey, here they are 2 weeks later, like,
to come out,
you know
the
what I
other
mean?
side.
Like, you got to kind of vanish for a while and then come back, but it's like, just don't, like, this, don't you have a friend that's like, dude, like, put your phone down, don't do it, man.
Well, that's
like,
what I think.
You just, it's like that easy. 3, 10, 5 words, 20 years is gone. You know what I mean? Like, fans
Doesn't
gone.
take too much.
Business is gone. Like, sponsors gone.
You're thinking if you're gonna make like a statement like that, you at least make sure the rest of your like musical project is on board with what you're saying.
Yeah. On one side, you should be able to express your views, but on the other side of it,
You got to know what those consequences of that will be.
you
as
got to
well.
accept the consequences.
You gotta, like, Burn Her Alive. What? Oh, no, that's the name of my new album that's about to drop in 3 days. It's called Burn Her Alive. It's about my hamburgers that I cooked. Even the cover of the album is just me grilling out. It Burn Her Alive. And then, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta, like, that's... I mean, that's what I was trying to do, but I would have never said Burn Her Alive. to
No.
someone.
I would probably just saw whatever post he did and be like, hey, I mean...
I'd have been like, why am I looking at what moms say to their kids? Like, what?
Yeah.
Who gives a... It's none of your fucking business. Like, fuck
It's possible
off.
that CJ's gone down some,
Like-
what do you call that? So QAnon rabbit holes or something in
Did
recent
people
years.
type that in? I want to search what do parents say to their kids. Search. Look at this shit. Like, what?
You'd be surprised the amount of people who, like,
There's-
go
people
on the
are-
YouTube
yes.
rabbit hole
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
comment and shit for no reason, because, you know, I used to be one of them. I'd be like, hey, you fucking suck, and then I'd move on. But I've since recovered from that. I don't do that no more.
People love it. They do it. They're doing it right now. Right now, somebody's doing it right now.
What I find real peculiar is like how fast they were able to get a replacement vocalist to record all the parts on the album and mix and master it in time for the album, because they only delayed the album by a week. Like,
Yeah,
like
they were.
for this.
I think they were planning that for a minute.
They've had to have been
Like-
for this guy to take time away from. He was already an internationally touring band, the singer that they got. The last album was in 2020, so I don't know like how active they've been since then. But they've had to have planned this out for a while to say like, hey, can you re-record all these vocals in 3 weeks?
They were probably sitting there just waiting for a reason. They got their feet kicked back on. We're just going to stay in the pocket, and as soon as something happens, bam, catch him with the right, and he's gone.
And that's
Get 'em out
hard.
the
Would
door.
you want to, like, you got to go re-sing these songs that this other guy did, but you got to sing them for this reason? It'd be like, do you be like, yeah, let's go. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take some glory and do it. Or do you just like, I'll do
for
it.
the
Or,
guy, for the singer Tyler Miller, like jumping from A Virgin's Crown to The Artist Murder is a giant leap
right?
forward
You know
career
what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, it's
you can't say no.
It's a leap career-wise, and I think I kind of see where he's going with it. It's like, do you feel like a shitbag because the way the band done him is not right. I mean, what he said wasn't right, but I think they're both in the wrong here.
And then kind of face him, like show him up a little bit. Even like, you know what? I'm going to like...
It's kind of funny because like CJ McMahon was promoting the album up to the day before release, and just had to wake up and find out, hey, you've been replaced.
And that's pussy. Whoever did that's a coward.
Yeah.
Like that's another social media. Get on Twitter thing and hey, you're fired. Like what? You know what I mean? Like that's just as bad as setting someone on fire. You both are referencing burning someone. Like how come the guy that says you're fired, like he just said you're fired. He's already burned him. The other guy was just talking about maybe burning somebody. The other guy's like totally done it already. So why isn't he getting fired too? Fuck! Now I'm fired. Fuck! I gotta stop.
Oh, you're fired up a little bit. But I think the whole thing was mismanaged. That's a shit way to do somebody. Back in my day, when you fired somebody, you done it face to face.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why. If they knew they were going to fire him, they could have did it earlier. But I guess they didn't want to, since they had the album coming out that soon after it happened. Because this is like 3 weeks ago when that happened.
If I'm him, the first time I see them play live next, I'm driving my car through the stage.
So he's out of the band completely.
He is completely out of the band.
Yeah.
And given like he only has like performance rights. He didn't write lyrics. He didn't write the lyrics that he performed. So they're not losing a songwriter here. But they are losing like the charismatic face of the band with that. Because CJ McMahon is one of the celebrities in deathcore, essentially. He's one of the names vocalists that everybody like recognizes and knows. He's one of the biggest faces of the genre.
That's rough.
That's just kind of an ass out way to do somebody. It's like, we're just going to let him promote, because that just makes him look like a jackass.
Just stay off the internet.
It does look like a jackass. Thing is, though, like a lot of people were not fond of what he had to say.
Well, yeah, with good reason. With good reason. I'm going to preface that by saying with good reason. People should be upset a little bit, but at the same time, if I'm the band and I know I'm going to fire him,
they could have fired him outright.
I'm not going to let him promote the album all the way up to the day. If I really disagreed and I believed 100%, hey, fuck you, bud. You're not talking about my album for 29 days, and I'm going to fire you on the 30th. I'm getting you the
Yeah, that does seem like a little underhanded.
And he said something that was completely fucked. Like, you're not talking about me or my shit. You're gone. Like, keep my name out your mouth, Will Smith type shit. But just for them to let him promote the album all the way up to the day that they're fired, that's kind of a bitch-made way to do something. Was they scared of him? Is he physically...
I'm not sure. Like, they claimed in the... I probably should, pull up the actual statement that they made. But they were saying that he made a lot of threats over, say he was going to destroy the band from within, and making a whole lot of threats like that. I'll pull up what the actual statement is so we're not just talking out our ass here.
Man. How often do you get to say that? I will destroy you. I will destroy this band. I don't get to destroy much.
There's a whole statement here.
Oh yeah, it's crazy if you look it up. It's and that's the thing. It's it's a big deal all over this. All these people have opinions. It's back in the day, you were just in the cafeteria. Somebody, man, you heard that band broke up? Oh man.
It says, all right, here's the quote from The Artist Murder, the band, over the incident. We have some important news regarding Godlike, their new album, that we want to share with you. Our new album, Godlike, is now available worldwide digitally. With an unforeseen change, Chris McMahon is no longer a part of The Artist Murder and does not feature on the record. We understand that this may come as a surprise, and we want to assure you that this decision was made to preserve the band's integrity and direction. What transpired over the past month was not the cause of this action, but just another symptom of the drawn-out breakdown in his character and judgment. The straw that broke the camel's back, if you will. Long story short, the fallout has been immense. We were lobbed with threats to destroy The Artist Murder from within, and if we did not capitulate to various ideologies that he holds. Everyone has their own right to free speech and to seek their truth. They are also free to receive the consequences that come with it. We appreciate your support and respect for our privacy during this challenging time. As we move forward, we are excited to introduce you to a new vocalist who finished re-recording vocals on the new album earlier this week, and we will be joining us for the Godlike European tour with Whitechapel, Fit for an Autopsy, and Spite, which kicks off in a few days. Our focus remains on delivering powerful music and unforgettable performances to our dedicated fans. We're grateful for your understanding and continued support as we embark on this new chapter together. With gratitude, The Artist Murder.
So there was no physical threats in there?
I'd say there's physical threats, but I guess threats to suing them possibly, or
okay.
And also, it seems like they were saying there was threats from either him or people that agreed with them from other sources.
How many people are in that band? Let's see here.
There are 5 people.
5 counting him. Right?
Yeah,
so
counting him, so that's 5.
That's a 4v1.
Yeah.
Let's kick the shit out of him.
And he's not an original member either.
There you go. Yeah. Kick the shit out of him, throw him out.
What if he had the glasses on from They Live, and he saw her, and he realized that she
Cyrus,
was one of the monsters?
You are high and going.
I'm just trying to figure out why people get on the internet and just spill hateful, nasty things, just knowing that's it. You know what I mean? I don't understand.
Well, a lot of it is,
and then it starts stuff like this, and people apologize in videos and talking, and then a statement from the band. It's damn, dude, just.
It's been a big whole
it's
thing.
It's ridiculous.
So we shall see how well this. Looking at the comments on different websites where they made the post about it and different metal and rock publications, seems like there's a split, a pretty almost even split seemingly between people who are backing CJ and people who are backing the band over this whole endeavor. So it's unclear if which side it definitely seems to be the consensus or there's more of, but whenever The Artist Murder come up on their upcoming tour, and it'll wait to be seen how well the new vocalist is received and how the band is received, and whether CJ is going to do a new project in the future and how well that takes off when he eventually gets around to doing that.
How many people are right in the middle when they hear this? It's like, oh, he done some dumb shit, but they done some dumb shit too, so fuck both of them.
There have been comments like that. I haven't seen many of them on the websites.
Yeah.
It's mostly either strongly for or against, one way or the other.
Are you going to have this record? Are you still going to get it?
I have listened to the record already.
All right.
I've listened to it, and essentially, like Tyler
Did you feel guilty when you listened to it?
I personally don't feel guilty. Something to note, on the vinyl and physical versions, CJ's performance is still on those, because those have to be done well in advance.
Yeah.
But it's just the digital version that they have the new vocalist on.
Well, have you done a comparison between the two yet?
No, but I did hear the singles that were released with CJ's vocals before this full album came out.
How did they compare?
Essentially, Tyler Miller, A Virgin's Crown, Tyler Miller's band, was already heavily compared to Thy Art Is Murder in the first place.
Okay, so they're similar sounds.
Very similar sounds. A lot of people didn't even notice that it was not CJ on the vocals, honestly.
Well, that works for them then.
That's right. They did find someone who sounds very similar, another person who's from Australia and has experience touring. They found possibly the best possible replacement for CJ, honestly. As far as sound-wise, does he have the same charisma that CJ does that gets people interested in the band? That he does not have. Maybe with a bigger audience, he can become that person, but that's awaits to be seen.
I've got two things to add to your story. Number one, at the beginning, you said unforeseen incident.
Yes.
What if that's a lie? What if they went to like a tarot card reader or a psychic and they got told that something was going to happen, and that's how they knew they could find a guy that sounded so similar, like, because they already knew, and they were just trying to make it so the record would be all right. You know what I mean?
That's probably why they didn't announce they got a re-record done until...
Right? See?
That part makes sense.
You don't...
Maybe not the psychic, but like the...
You don't know.
But I'm sure, like, if they were thinking...
hotlines. What if he talked to the guy from Blink-182 and he found an alien signal and he told him and they told... That's how that went
Hey,
down.
we're from a pocket dimension. This right here is going
All right, so we already solved that mystery right there. It was Tom DeLonge and alien. It was aliens.
It was aliens the whole time.
Second, you're talking about the charisma of the front man. So if you change the front man and you still sing good, do you have to go like wilder than the guy before to show it up, or do you just have to like what do you can't like do like if you can't just do exactly how they did it, or else you're like the copycat. So that's got to be the hardest part, is like when you get on stage, like
to find your
like, do you not show that much charisma because you don't want to be the guy that's trying to show the charisma of the last guy that had the charisma? You know what I mean?
Essentially, like a lot of with a lot of vocals in general, like they kind of do, especially in like deathcore, metalcore, and the whole like the core scene, they kind of do the same stuff on stage, just how well it's received.
Right.
Which I have not seen A Virgin's Crown live or seen live videos of them. I know performance-wise, the singer does have that level of ability, but as far as like people liking him in the crowd, that's...
Well, I think if I'm him and I'm coming in off the back of somebody with a ton of charisma who's a well-known vocalist, and I might be compared to him vocally, but people I don't know how they're going to receive my I'll call it stage presence.
Yes.
I think I would ease into it. Like I wouldn't go completely.
Also, with the
balls to
circumstances
walls.
of him coming into the band, a lot of people are salty about that.
I think I will remain in the background a little bit, even though I've got to be up front. It's like, you know what, figuratively play in the background.
Basically, like not be the mouthpiece quite yet.
Yeah.
Outside of vocals.
That's true. You really can't come out and be like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
What's up? I'm not CJ, but I hope you like me.
Yeah.
But you know who's done good was what Journey got a different Steve Perry.
Yeah.
And then CCR went from
Creedence Clearwater Revival
to what was the other one? It was
Drugs are bad. Okay?
But they changed and they had a new singer and they did good. So maybe he's maybe they're the next Journey. Maybe he's Steve Perry.
They've already had like the big success over the past.
Well, Steve Perry had big success too.
Well, he did, but you forget that's back in the 80s when social media wasn't a big thing.
Yeah, we got social media now with this, and this is a pretty big.
You got all your
switch.
news from magazines and the TV.
Like as far as like vocalist frontmen in the deathcore scene, CJ McMahon is easily top 5 of renown.
You just gave me a really good idea. Storm Toker could host this, do they do like a Champs metal night? Because if you go to Champs, it's always like the music they normally play and some hokey pokey in the Gator. I don't know if they still do that. Imagine if it was all metal all night. You have a band in the corner, like speed skating to like just that. I don't know why, but I just thought of roller skating when you said something. What did you say that was? No. Did you say something about roller skating?
No, I didn't.
No, it was completely.
Oh my god,
that was completely out of. I don't even know where that came from. But I kind of get where you're going with that because we used to have that in Somerset.
Metal roller skating.
Well, they had bands from around the area. They would come in and play like.
Can you play music. Champs here?
No, not that I know of.
I think it was called Finley's Fun Center. They would give them a little stage, and they would come in and they would just rock their little hearts out. People who played country usually didn't last in there, but people who like rocked it out to like southern rock or the blues or metal, they earned some money.
You know what? I'm glad that dude's singing in the band. I'm glad the band didn't fall apart. I'm glad they're going forward. So the fans of the band that like that music get to continue to hear it if you do like it. Because if you like it, you'd rather hear it than if you don't like it, if it's not there, you know what I mean? So it's probably better that that they're going on with the new guy and keeping going,
Yeah. It is good that they are continuing in some fashion.
It's some bands you can't imagine the lead singer. Like if Huey Lewis left Huey Lewis, or like, you know what I mean? There's some bands where it's like the singer is the singer. Like, but Huey then
Lewis in the news.
It would just be the news.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's some bands the guy comes in, he sounds good. There's some that's like, you're like, there's no way that's going to work. And you're like, hey, he
I think they're like, with their situation, like, of course CJ McMahon's like a big name in the genre, but he's not irreplaceable.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's irreplaceable.
Well,
I mean, obviously, they got holograms.
I think there might be one who is, and I've never heard anybody sound like him, and that's Freddie Mercury. Nobody going to sound like him.
Yeah, he was a very distinct character.
Yeah. One of the greatest of all time. Greatest
like Adam Lambert in his shoes.
Hey, and if you said the record's good, I have not heard it, but if you say it sounds good and people like it, then, I mean, good.
Good on them for it.
Yeah.
Tour and make that money. But if it's trash, they probably should have shelved the whole record. Anything. Well, if it's me, I'm shelving the whole thing. I don't even want anything to do if I'm that bummed.
A lot of people are claiming that they're like burning. Given, I feel like it's BS, but people are claiming they're like breaking the artist murder stuff, and they're burning their merch that they got. I haven't seen any videos or pictures of it, so I think it's people just talking crap.
Like, what happens when you're that guy too? You said the bad stuff. Everybody's against you now, and then you gotta like either make sorry. You gotta tell apologize, like you said, and it's either.
I think it's like he said that he told the band to go ahead and fire him because he felt he had nothing to apologize for.
Well, I mean, you're just asking for.
So then he got that's the day he got fired is when he said that. Yeah. So he said it. They just probably like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, you just said it.
And of course, there's a lot of people saying like CJ did nothing wrong. And a big name person who's like come to his defense, who's a controversial figure in himself, Ronnie Radke of Falling in Reverse fame. I don't know if you're familiar with who that is. Yeah. He's just in the headlines more so, not for his music more so, but more so for just being a giant asshole all the time and getting a lot of headlines written about him.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he just like. I don't want. I wish death on a lot of people, but if he just like went to a retirement home and we never heard from him again. I would probably appreciate that.
He's a 40-year-old man who still acts like a very petulant child.
And that's like goes back to the Twitter and all that. Like, I had a friend, he used to say, talk good about me, talk bad about me, just don't stop talking about me. And it's easier to do bad things and get attention than it is to do like good things, unfortunately. So there's a lot of people that, hey, if I'm not getting enough hits, I can just do something shitty or say the wrong thing and like, you know what I mean? Like, now I've got a reputation, or I get some extra video plays. I sell a record or a CD or something. Like, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, everything we're talking about usually goes back to somebody's just online or just being crappy. Like, where's the good news? Tell me like who did something good. Like,
outside of that Boy George and Napalm story, that's about it.
Yeah, Boy George is the one who did good. Boy George, the guy that back in the day, he probably still like dressed up, like kind of put makeup on, sang about lizards. You know what I mean? Hey, Kama Chameleon. The people who don't forget
I know his songs, but I just never
Kama Chameleon. That's the guy I've covered that song. Freaking the one that you were talking about earlier. I can't remember his name. He had good videos.
Yeah,
he pioneered like MTV and like you didn't.
He was one of the early MTV stars.
And he was always bright, and you never heard bad things. And he was on there, and he was always a good dude.
Well, there is one bad thing about Boy George.
I mean, he did
do
a bunch of drugs, like from what
I said, what
well, he slung a cell phone at somebody apparently,
and they probably deserve. Hey,
that's on a small scale stuff now.
Yeah. That's
people expect.
And they probably said something crappy to him, and he threw the phone at him.
I wouldn't doubt it. But.
It's wait to see how well.
So that's the good. That's the good out of all the good news. It's that guy. That's your guy.
Yeah,
so, this week that's the one good news thing that's happened earlier this week.
Boy George, shout out to Boy George right now. Shout out Boy George.
Throwing it up for Boy George.
But yeah, that's essentially all the news stories that we have for this week.
That's just sad though. Like, you're not in shining armor. I'm not saying anything bad about Boy George, but of all the news, the one story that is positive is Boy George talking up Napalm Death.
I guess Blink-182 announcing their new album.
That's gonna get people hyped. People are
gonna love that.
And there are flat earthers right now that are Deftones. That dude might have got him a whole lot of new fans. You never know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's probably some people like, man, now I can go somewhere.
I think a lot of people are choosing to just ignore Stephen Carpenter's flat earther stuff.
And then there's that. Like, just ignore it. Like,
just play your guitar riffs. Yeah. Just less about flat earth.
Yeah. Unless you write a really good flat earth song that's real super catchy, and everybody starts to sing it, and it's got like lyrics that like when you say it, you're just basically admitting to flat earth, but you can't not.
That's probably a good thing. Stephen
put
Carpenter
it in the
doesn't write the lyrics.
It's in the next Lego movie instead of that song from that Lego movie, the freaking everything is awesome.
That's a catchy
the earth is fucking flat. The earth is fucking
song.
flat. It's aborted. It's true. And like you just say that over and over, and you're like, fuck.
That song got stuck in my. I remember the first time I saw that movie, I was on house arrest, and it was the only thing. It was because the direct DV got cut off, but we still had the DVR.
How in the 90-minute so far podcast that you just have a whole criminal history you're relating to?
Go on, man. Anywho, I saw it and I didn't really see it. I just hit play on the DVR, and the first thing that popped up was a dirty movie. And of course, I watched that and then roll over and went to sleep. About 3 minutes into it, and then I got woken up by "Everything is awesome, everything is cool when you're part of a team," and then hearing fucking Chris Pratt talking to me. It was a great movie. I loved it.
How did we get here?
I don't know, but it was a great movie.
Because that's the Flat Earth song.
The Flat Earth song.
Deftones are good.
I don't know. Just hearing Morgan Freeman say stuff, it was great. He talked me through, and then I woke up and put pants on.
My God. Well, that's all the news stories for today. Let's let y'all know about the new releases, new albums that just dropped this past this week, essentially this past Friday. Of course, we've been talking about them for the last 30 minutes or so. The Artist Murder's new album Godlike is out. If you can hear what their new vocalist sounds like on the new record, or if you bought vinyl or bought a CD already, you can hear CJ's version, which is probably better than Taylor's version of anything with all that released.
That's a tough one.
Yep.
Of course, another big name released, the biggest name in death metal, Cannibal Corpse, have released their new album, Chaos Horrific. I listened to that full album yesterday. It sounds like Cannibal Corpse, but
it's a record.
But somehow it's still going to be one of the best death metal releases of the year. Easily, they somehow keep doing that every time they release a new record.
Do you know that? I think they were in that Pat movie. Did you know that?
What?
That movie Pat about the guy from Saturday Night Live. I think at the end, or is that Ween? They're in a movie.
They're in Ace Ventura.
That's Ace Ventura. It's Ween that's in Pat. But Pat, they're in that. Like, that's right. I get hyped when I hear Cannibal Corpse because I remember back when they were kind of new. That was crazy. But now it's like my dad knows that name. You know what I mean? Like Cannibal Corpse.
The biggest name.
You know what I mean? Like you might never heard their music, but if somebody, it's not you don't hear that anymore. Like Cannibal Corpse, what's that? You're like, oh yeah, Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, I lost some teeth at one of their shows.
Like they're playing up in Louisville in October 20th.
Yeah.
Get to lose some more teeth.
And they're still going.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't even supposed to be at that show. I was kind of just there. And just wandered in off the street, and then I lost some teeth, and I was like, oh, well, I guess it's a good soundtrack to lose some teeth there. That's how I got into them. Punched in the face repeatedly.
And another big name, the big name that's pretty well recognized, Stained, have released their latest album, Confessions of the Fallen. For all you who like the old new metal and post-grunge of the late 90s, early 2000s, Aaron Lewis is back with his band Stained, doing rock again, and not country this time.
Yeah, he needs to stay away from country.
He has a lot of dumb stuff in the media, too, himself.
Yeah, he just needs to go into the retirement home, like I said the other dude needs to do, and just crank out Stained records. That's it.
It's better than the country stuff. We'll give him that. Like, I listened to the first single from this new record, and actually it was pretty solid for being that style. Just wish you didn't talk so much about other stuff.
Yeah, he just needs to shut up.
There's been 10 people in Cannibal Corpse, including the 5.
Why are you looking up how many members every band we talk about?
Because I like to see how many people are still in the original band. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you all. But Cannibal Corpse obviously been rocking the most solid lineup out of all the bands we've been talking about. Shout out Cannibal Corpse.
Because they've had the same drummer and bassist since the beginning.
Shout out Cannibal Corpse and Boy George same time. Get that one. That's hot. That's fucking hot.
I've never heard anything bad.
Keep talking about your
I've never heard anything bad about Cannibal Corpse,
Right.
but
Same thing, Cannibal Corpse.
I have heard bad stuff about Aaron Lewis. Mainly that his country career blows.
Oh, yeah. And slightly lesser known releases that have come out. Industrial metal band Three Teeth have released a new record called Index. Spelled ENDEX. I've listened to one of their records before. A lot of people who are into industrial metal are hyped that they're trying to bring that sound back. I wasn't too fond of their last record. Thought it was kind of basic, but hopefully this new one's better. I haven't listened to it yet.
How many things have 3 teeth? Does that mean you lost all your teeth, but 3? You got punched in that?
Do they only have those 3 front teeth?
Well, I'm not sure.
What was the name of the record again? It was kind of cool.
Index. Spelled ENDEX.
Yeah.
Do you think that's
3 teeth.
Illuminati or something?
I have no idea what that's. I'm pretty sure it's like a play on the word index, INDEX.
Like an index card, like maybe they're going to put something on a piece of paper and hide it somewhere.
That's their concert. They go there and no instruments are played. They just hold up index
Do you guys,
cards. People read.
does your generation, Donte, do you know what an index card is?
Yeah, of course we know what an index
You just
card
get on the
is.
phone, you have an index card, and where you go.
But what if it's a play on the end?
I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be.
What, the end of the band?
Shout out index cards.
Maybe it's an index of things that are ending
No,
the
it's
world
a deep.
or something.
No, it's a deep word. It's a deep word. There's a lot of meanings.
Other releases there are Dayshell, post-hardcore band or alternative rock band. I'm not sure what you really want to call them. Have released an album called new album Pegasus. Of course, Dayshell is the current project of former Of Mice and Men bassist and melodic vocalist Shelley Bourget. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Shelley Bourget.
That's a weird ass combination.
That what? What's
Of Mice and Men to what's their band name again?
Dayshell.
Dayshell. What's their sound? Because I haven't heard of them before. What's their sound like?
This sound is like a very well. It's got like the instrumentation of like post-hardcore. Where it's like kind of like clean guitars and a little bit of like heavy guitar stuff, but it's like real melodic vocals, kind of R&B infused vocals over like rock music stuff you see at Warped Tour.
Okay,
Similar stuff.
5 members currently. 5, just him with it's 5.
But so he's going to switch from Of Mice and Men.
Oh, he's been out of Mice and Men for like a long time.
Operation Pegasus, and they did a little GoFundMe to help put it together.
Yeah, I think the band is really just him. Like it's a solo band that he like writes and records everything and gets like other members to play with.
It's out September 22nd, 2023. Like that's like coming up,
That's
isn't
what
it?
he's talking about.
Yeah, this was Friday that just passed. It just came out. I'm talking about the releases that just came out.
He's got a new record coming out, Donte.
Cyrus has had too much of the old greenery today. You're not coming back on his damn phone. Where was I? There's other releases. Metalcore band Heart of a Coward released the new album This Place Only Brings Death. I'm not sure if I've ever listened to Heart of a Coward.
Tough, whatever that is. It better be tough. That's tough.
That's 2 good names. So
I'll go listen. I'll go listen to that.
I feel like they're pretty well respected. They're a pretty well respected name. This Place Only Brings Death. Heart of a Coward. It is pretty hard titles that they got there.
Heart of a Coward. That's bold, dude.
You gotta bring some heat.
Like, and like if you're a man or a woman or like an animal, like my dogs, Like, you know if you have the heart of a coward or not. Like, right now, anybody that's
You have tools inside you.
listening to this, like, you know, like, if you've been somewhere, like, almost in a car wreck or something, and, like, you know, like, when you, like, whether you, like, clenched up and, like, started to get, you know, freak out, or if you, like, grab the dash and, like, dude, we're gonna fucking brace ourselves for this shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, in that instance, I have the heart of a coward.
You know what I mean? Hey, I'm not saying I might have the heart of a coward.
I'm bitch made when it comes to
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to fight no. But when the other day when I had to go after that dog that chased my dog, and I went in there and I realized I was going to get chewed up, and I didn't care. That's when I realized then and there, like, switch, I did not. Like, that was the one time I knew I did not have a heart of a coward.
Well, that's the switch, though. Like, if I'm driving in traffic and somebody's coming at me head on, I'm probably going to poo-poo and pee-pee all over myself.
Well, I guess traffic was bad because that's not like your choice. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to just grab the dash and brace for a crash. I shouldn't have said that. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, if some dude's going to stomp me the fuck out, like, I'm not going to run away. I'll just take my ass whooping like I used to.
Like, if you're somewhere and somebody's about to rob the place, like at a gas station, and, like, they have the gun pointed at somebody, and, like, you're, like, there. Like, you could do the dive, or you could, you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Do you dive and stop it, or do you just sit there and just like, okay, I'm just going to let this go. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to be good. Or do you like, fuck this, dude. I'm going to do some shit. Donte, you're like, what did you, Donte? I mean, you go to the gym. You got some guns. But you going to bring the guns to the gunfight?
I'm not attacking a wild dog, probably.
You know what I mean? I'm not talking, I'm just, you know.
Like, well, in that scenario, I've been shot before. That shit hurts.
Well, so, yeah, but like, you're not going to get shot. I'm saying if you do the hero move, if you do the brave move, it's going to work. I mean, I know it's not always going to work.
If I am right there and he is clearly not paying attention to me and I'm standing side by side with him, I might, like, look to the cashier and be like, hey, you want to help me out with this? And if they give the head nod, then we'll make it a 2v1. Yeah. But if he's like, no, I'm bitch made, like, I'm not going to risk getting shot for you. Like, he's just robbing you. He's not robbing me.
I think it was Richard Pryor. He said it like, yeah, he's like, you can be as brave as you want, but if you're standing somewhere and you hear the of a shotgun like behind your back, he's like, your hands just go, like they just go up. You don't. It's like it's just that's the reflex to that sound behind you, regardless of who
like,
you
oh, that
are.
is danger.
Yeah,
I
like like that's just wherever you are. You could be anywhere. If you hear that, that's what happens.
That's how we went to Richard Pryor from Day Shell. It's hard names, Heart of Coward.
Day Shell's a pretty good name too. That sounds pretty good. Are you getting shelled from the day? Are you shelling yourself? Are you protecting yourself from the day? Are you getting wrecked from the day? Is it shelling you?
Hopefully, it's
or are you using the day as a shell?
I think it's a shell of the. I don't know what the band name means. I'm not that into Day Shell, but
all right, that's fine.
Another bit, an album that I did listen to already, Hex Vessel.
Hex
That's
Vessel
a good name too. That's
released
a good ass name.
A new album, Polar Veil. For those unaware, Hex Vessel is kind of along the lines of a mixture of doom, gothic rock, black metal, and progressive rock and stuff, all kind of mixed together in a very interesting package. They do some real trippy, atmospheric type stuff, and the new record, I listened to it. It's quite good, quite vibey, as like the kids would say.
Did it feel like you were in the North Pole?
It does feel very icy, I would say.
And you know what? And they haven't said anything bad online.
They're also not super well known. They're very underground.
That's right. And that's why, because but if they ever like, hey, we need to get bigger, talk bad. Like, don't do it. Just stay where you are. You're doing good. Stay off the Twitter. Just be cool, man.
Another album I'm very excited for is the new album from Kin Mode, titled Void. Kin Mode is got a lot of renown in underground now for being along the grindcore, extreme metal lines. Very popular amongst people that like bands like Portrait of Betrayal, Betrayal of Guilt. I can't remember which is the name of that one, and your basically all like the underground bands like Inner Arma, just extreme stuff that you see in dive bars all across the country. For those that don't know, Kin Mode, K-E-N, is an acronym for Kill Everyone Now Mode. And they put out some nice extreme stuff.
Wait a minute. So wait, who is? Just say that again.
Kin Mode.
So what is that?
They are a band.
That's the name of a band.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can be called that band, and no one gives them any trouble. They do their shows. They're talking about killing everybody. This dude talks about...
It's a reference from a Henry Rollins quote.
I'm just saying, he talks about burning one lady and he's done. This band is just going around like they're like not just want to burn a lady, they want to kill everyone. Like that's everyone. Like that's you and me, like right now.
I mean, I would let him do it.
I'm just saying. I don't get how one thing can be one thing.
There's a difference between saying stuff in a band name or a song.
I know it sounds cool and it's tough, but why is that cool and tough? And you're like, it's all right.
It's basically just having a mindset. It's like it's a Henry Rollins quote about a mindset.
I'm not defending. I know. It is what it is. It just sometimes I don't know.
And I believe last on the list I have here is from a lesser-known band that I discovered recently called Wormhole.
Yes.
With an album titled Almost Human. They call their style of music tech slam. Essentially playing like slam metal, which is just the most caveman asinine shit that you'll ever hear of just being heavy and groovy. But they mix a lot of like technical death metal like instrumentation with it. So they have the groove and caveman aggression of slam.
So they're just unga bungaing on a guitar until it sounds like Mozart.
They're cavemen in lab coats, essentially. Is kind of what it is. They have like it's basically technical death metal, but like when they do the heavy slammy parts, it's just caveman stomp around, swing your fists type shit.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, it's pretty good. A pretty good record there for your extreme needs.
The album art is really neat with the like dude like burning up on the moon. I think. I don't know.
Spacey and slimy is the way to go. But yeah,
Wormhole is a good name for a band. Absolutely. I'm
surprised that name was available, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like you can't be a new band and have just a normal ass name anymore. It's got to be some halfway made up shit like Stormtoker.
But Wormhole is another band. Like are they the first Wormhole?
Probably not. If I had to guess,
you know what I mean.
They just did the name and no one else have said, "Hey, we had that first." That's Wormhole. But that is all the releases that we have today for this week. And that's essentially the end of the podcast here.
You think there is a wormhole? Could we go into a wormhole?
Cyrus is over here like doing high Googling of stuff.
I'm just checking out to see if we can make a wormhole, like what it takes.
We
can't make it in this room, but we could.
Well, actually, you probably could if you can condense the matter small enough.
But it wouldn't be very healthy for anyone involved.
And it's really good that bands we need music, so don't stop making music.
God. So how did y'all enjoy your first episode of the podcast?
I loved it. I want to do it again. Everybody probably hates it, but I loved it.
We will see how this. I'm just hoping people listen because this will be the first podcast episode in 4 or 5 months now.
Oh, nobody's going to be able to understand a damn word I'm saying because I got cornbread coming out.
Well, let's take a minute and talk about that too. Like you've had, because I follow you and I try to watch your things. I don't do the Tic Tac, so I don't know how that rolls sometimes.
Tic-tacs.
But I know like you have your steady viewers and your numbers, and then all of a sudden you'll say something or something will hit, and you'll get like instead of 200, it's 2,000 or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are those trigger words? Like if we just said them like right now in a row 70 times, would it get every?
Not really.
All right.
I think it's more along the lines.
Like what if you knew that like tomorrow's like 74 million views?
I think it's the wave because I did see you had a video that was going up about I think it was people of color and metal.
Yeah, which is weird because the video I did for Black History Month of last year. Yeah. So February of last year. I released it in March of last year. And for some reason, in the past 2 weeks or so, that's got caught in the algorithm, and it's got like 300 comments, and my subscriber count's gone up by 300.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool, but I think it's all in the wave.
It is just catching the wave. I'm not sure what... I have been releasing shorts on YouTube, so that's probably helping the algorithm.
It could also be tied to dude guy from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame saying some pretty wild shit.
That could be a possibility.
Everybody's starting to get into let's start reaching people of color.
Yeah, if you put in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's probably
maybe Jan Winter is helping my YouTube career
inadvertently.
But can we talk about Donte? I mean, for anybody that's never met Donte, that just listens or sees the Donte, he's all right. I started talking to Donte because I hope I don't get fired for telling the story.
I don't give a shit.
Donte would wear, I knew he would wear, he had a hat with some PlayStation things on it, so I'm like, I know Donte plays some games, so I kind of know that. And then he wore a hat, the Doom hat, and I was like, there's Doom metal band, and I'm pretty sure there's a rap Doom, like DJ. Is that just
MF Doom?
Yeah, okay. And I was like, I don't know which one it is. Is it that, because that metal band, like, that Doom's pretty for real. So I asked him one day about, and he told me that it was the metal band. I said, what? And then I said something about Dillinger Escape Plan. He said, oh, yeah. And then we started talking about Slayer. And I was like, damn, I can roll with Donte. And then, okay, this is where you have to edit it out. I said, what? And he said, I'm in a band too. And I was like, what's your band name? He said, Storm Toker. And now at this point, I have passed the drug test. It took me 70 days to pee clean after trying to pass a drug test from pot. And I had not smoked pot. I was worried to death. And when Donte said Storm Toker, I heard Toker. And I immediately asked Donte. I looked around. I was like, Donte, so do they like drug test here and stuff? And he was like, I'm going to a festival this weekend. I'm not going to finish anything else he said. But needless to say, that night, I was not afraid to go home and not wait any more days.
I'm fairly certain
that's
the
how
people you're worried about, they're not.
And that's
They're not
how,
listening
and
to
so
this
Donte
podcast.
and I, we
Yeah.
talked about all the metal that we saw, and he never believed me that I saw metal. But I proved him wrong.
I didn't believe that you knew people like Ian MacKay and shit till you showed a picture.
That's right, I got pictures.
Yeah, Cyrus is connected to punk celebrities over here.
Connected to nobody but felons.
But yeah, Heavy Haystack Podcast, episode 18. Did you all like it? Do you like the co-hosts I've had for this episode in Cyrus and Josh?
Well, they love that.
And this is where you get to go and be mean. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how many comments Donte gets. Maybe people will be nice, but this is the chance where it's like, man, those guys are fucks.
Fucking
You can put that right.
idiots.
You guys are
fucking
fucks.
retard.
And like
you
no
listen-
one here was trying to be mean. We were all having
No.
fun. If we talked bad, we were just being funny. But it's like,
I wasn't. I
well, you might be one.
All his stuff is authentic meme. Josh's stuff is thing. If you're listening to this on either Spotify or on YouTube, you can leave a comment and to let us know what you think of the episode. Spread the word about the Heavy Haystack to all your friends, family, loved ones, fellow music fans, and all that. If you want to follow the social media pages, it is the Heavy Haystack on YouTube and TikTok. Heavy_Haystack on Twitter, but I barely use that one. And just the Heavy Haystack on Facebook as well. I have a page on there where you can keep up with posts, new releases, new YouTube stuff as well. And for those of you who like stuff that's not music related, I just made a new YouTube channel called Heavy Haystack VA where I do voiceover stuff. But
listen to that. Dante's actually pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I listened to
Donte
it.
does good work. And then what about Heavy Haystack, #, or what is it, backspace?
Hashtag.
Heavy Haystack, #Flat Earth. That's his other new podcast.
that is not a podcast I will ever do. That's no flat earthing for me. These two, Cyrus and Josh, don't have any social media really for me to shout out of theirs.
Oh, I do, but
deserve
it's not
more
one that I'm going to be.
They don't have
proud of.
Instagrams or Twitters or anything of that nature. So,
What are you talking? I have an Instagram. You just,
oh yeah, well, I just can't find the damn thing.
Yeah, because it's hidden for a reason.
Oh yeah, follow Heavy Haystack on Instagram as well. I don't know how I didn't mention that one. That's what I'm most active on.
Yeah, support Donte, support local bands, support
me.
metal.
Support me. I need money.
And let me know if you want them back. If the podcast gets big enough, hey, maybe
They're never
keep
going to
coming
want us
back.
back.
Oh, no, this is
This is a one and done. They're never going to want us back anyway. So these two idiots don't know anything.
Oh man,
Or,
Yeah, I'm not gonna
You
ever-
might know
yeah,
a lot.
no.
You know a lot more than I do. I can just tell
you
stories.
know the big
about-
names. Oh,
Yeah,
this
I know
is
the big names, and I know like probably why they do it, and it's cocaine. And tell strippers too. Dante needs. Oh, I need strippers, but I can get them by proxy. I'll take that.
Well, with that said, thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe. Keep and keep an eye out for the next episode, which will not be another 4 or 5 months from now.
Yes, you need to keep up. You got to keep
Next
the
week.
content going.
I'll have another one hopefully in a week. We're gonna try to make that a week. No more further than bi-weekly at minimum. But yeah, until next time, peace, love, music, and we shall see you on the next episode.
And everyone, just be nice to each other. Just be nice.
Fuck that, kill people.
Just no.
Famous last words.
Right?
God damn it.